Hello, and welcome to episode 47 of the MisanthroPod. I fucked that right up. MisanthroPod.
You managed to get...
The MisanthroPod.
You got half a sentence in, well done.
This is going great, you guys.
Yay!
Hello, and welcome to episode 47 of the MisanthroPod. I'm Snipe, and as always, I'm joined by Wib. Say hello.
Hello.
And I'm joined by Drummermatt. Say hello.
Hello.
And we are also joined by a very special guest, Michael from Tactica Imperialis. Say hello.
Hello, everyone.
How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing okay. How are you lot?
I'm pretty good, thanks.
Well, good. I'm glad.
How are you, Snipe?
I'm fine. I'm just tripping over myself today, it seems.
Yeah. Now we've got someone else in to see how incompetent we are when actually recording, so...
I think that's actually it. Yeah, I'm like, oh no.
To be fair, you have sat through 3 of our podcasts, so we're kind of aware of how you two function at this point.
Or more specifically, how do we do not?
You don't realise we actually record for like 4 hours for every podcast and then trim it down to something relevant.
Oh, well, I've got time to kill.
But yeah, so... I guess we've got a couple of general things to talk about this week before we get on to what we've been up to. Mm-hmm. For a start, we started the new Codex Compliance series, would have been last Friday, which is gone down quite well. I was quite pleased.
Yeah, apparently people like 40k, who knows?
I know.
Yeah, who knew?
Yeah, I know, right?
Because, just to give people a bit of a peek behind the curtain as to what was going on there. We sort of wanted to do something that was like the Rogue Trader videos, but didn't take a month solid editing and involve me going slightly grey and losing my hair.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd stick with something a little bit more simple, that we can get, like, hopefully one out round about one a month is sort of my sort of aim.
Without giving too much away then, how many episodes have you got planned at the moment? Like, how many books have you got?
Well, we just ordered about 800 old, like, rule books and codexes off eBay, so...
800, good. Okay, good.
Yeah, there are at least 800, everyone knows this.
I mean, it could have been, 4.
800! I stand by my numbers.
But yeah, I've been getting a bunch of second edition stuff, because second edition codices are fantastic. And massive, and contain lots of pointless information. Yeah. Whilst also being slightly weird, because they're not quite Rogue Trader, but they're close enough.
Yeah, they have their perks, those old codices. When you're doing research for lore, you just come across, oh yeah, this is from the second edition codex. Oh, right. That's why it's a bit quirky then.
Yeah. I mean, just the thing that a lot of them, you'll open them up, and they've got like 20 pages of lore at the start of them. Like, and especially when you jump then to 3rd edition, where suddenly the codexes were like 3 times shorter. It's kind of weird. Also, I'm aware that I keep flicking between codices and codexes.
You're just trying to annoy us, it's fine. It's in your name.
Because I know one's correct, but one of them is what I said for years, so...
To be fair, though, with the... I mean, I only started playing in 5th edition, and all the codices I've ever picked up have at least had 30 pages of lore.
Oh yeah, the once they got to around about 5th, they started getting way better for it. Which, like, to me, because I started in 3rd, I just thought that was how they were, like, not having that much. And so as it went on, it was like, wow, these are getting so good. And so I go back to 2nd, and it's like, wow, this is like the old ones, like the really old ones, and that's like the new ones. Words. I know how to use them.
I'm sure you do.
But yeah, so yes, look out for more episodes of Codex Compliant soon.
My question then, are you limiting it to 40k if you're codices, whatever? Or are you going to do some fantasy ones or other stuff?
Probably not, because they're not called Codex, are they? Fantasy
they're
ones.
just army books or whatever they were.
They're army books, and nowadays they're battle tomes if you're sticking within Warhammer.
Okay.
Battle tomes sound pretty rad, though.
unless it's something that's really old and really interesting, probably not those, but something that's not directly related to the...
We need a Warhammer Fantasy like Mother Gullet, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
We need a really weird, like in the Assassin's Codex.
But yeah, that's more just because of our lack of familiarity with it. So I think other people can do that sort of thing a lot better than we can, because we don't really know it that good. But stuff that's like not related to it, like I've got like an art book, which might get covered at some point, and that's obviously got loads of fantasy in it. So that's the sort of thing that might get covered one day, and that would encompass fantasy, and things like White Dwarfs and other magazines that are interesting might get covered. And of course, again, they contain loads of fantasy, so it won't be completely devoid of fantasy, but
Yeah, it's a similar thing for me, because people always pester me, when are you going to do AOS lore? Are you going to do AOS lore? So on, so on, so on. One, I'd need to buy all the novels and the battle tomes, because there's no Lexicanum equivalent, and trust me, when you are a lore researcher, if you don't have lots of money and time, Lexicanum is your best friend.
Absolutely.
And two, there are people who can just do it better, because they've got time, they've got the books, and that's why I've always said I'm not going to be covering it, even if it's on our channel. It won't be me personally who does it. I'll ask one of my more AOS savvy friends to cover it.
Yeah.
And that's sensible. Like, there's no point doing something when you think someone else can do it better. It's why like we don't do lore videos, because there's plenty of people who do better lore videos, including yourself. So, but covering the weirdness of old stuff. We hadn't really seen people do that on sort of that scale. So,
well, no, because I think a lot of other people have they have that whole modicum of decency, so they don't bring up vor.
To be fair, though, I think there's probably more appeal for the old stuff than ever before, considering the amount that people riot over all the new stuff.
Yeah. Which is weird, because we're doing it, but we quite like the new stuff. So.
I've got my complaints about the new stuff, but
absolutely.
But I'm not going to revolt and boycott the game over it. For God's sake, grow up.
Yeah, but I guess speaking of new stuff, and not actually 100% 40k related for once, there is the new what they're called. I've already forgotten their name. The Snake Ladies.
The Snake Ladies.
The Daughters of Cain.
Daughters of Cain. That's the one.
I was literally just about to say that.
That name that I literally double checked with you right before we started recording, and I instantly forgot.
Yeah, that went well.
You should. We literally have a notepad file in front of it. You should have written it down.
That's the one thing I didn't write down.
God damn it.
Because I'm smart.
See, it's the Daughters of Cain, you were saying.
Yeah, I don't play fantasy in either, fantasy or Sigma or whatever. I've never played it, apart from a couple of tryout games at GW many moons ago. But looking at those models, I kind of get interested, especially the giant one that I actually don't know the name of, even though, Michael, you told me right beforehand.
That is the true form of Morathi. For those of you who are old fantasy people, Morathi was the mother of Malekith, leader of the Dark Elves. She died in the End Times and was, as far as I'm aware, she died in the End Times, or if she didn't, she was consumed by Slaanesh, because somehow elves and Eldar get the same fate these days, never mind. But fast forward to the age of Sigmar, and the elven gods, the new ones, which is actually Tyrion, Teclis, and Malekith fused with his dragon now called Malerion, capture Slaanesh. Don't ask, don't know yet, waiting for the battle tome. And they start to rescue souls from Slaanesh. This is all very weird, and trust me, I don't get it all either. Morathi, however, fights her way out. She actually gets herself free of Slaanesh and becomes a power in her own right. She founds a cult devoted to Cain, which is one of the old elven gods, but actually Cain's dead. So Morathi has got the last vestige of Cain's essence and is basically using the worship of Cain to power herself up. She pretends to look like this beautiful elven woman like she used to when she was riding around on a Pegasus and doing shenanigans, but the supermassive snake monster is what Slaanesh turned her into.
That's my favourite Muse album as well. Sorry. I had to put something in there, because that was all stuff I have no idea about.
Trust me, I only learned it about 4 days ago.
Yeah, some of it's vaguely ringing a bell with me, because I used to be fantasy kid way before I got into 40k. but I haven't played for so long, and I was like, oh, some of those names are ringing a bell, but...
Yeah, Malekith, to be honest, if you didn't read the end times, you might be confused, but Malekith is actually the boss of all the elves now. He actually became the Phoenix King like he was supposed to, and allied with Tyrion and Teclis. It's very, very weird. But Tyrion and Teclis are in charge of the Realm of Light, aka the Sun, in the mortal realms, and Malekith Malerion, as his new name is in charge of the Realm of Shadow, and the two orbit each other, and that's how you get day and night in the mortal realms. Morathi is in the Realm of Shadow, doing chicanery and blood sacrificing the flip out of everybody.
Well, yeah, as you do.
Yeah, I did read over the things that were put up on the Warhammer community website. And it basically go, okay, they're technically on the side of good, but also they get murder happy really easy and just kill everyone. And it's like, okay, they don't sound like good guys, but
basically the reason their order is as follows: they don't like being dead, they don't like chaos, and they quite like living in cities, so they don't like the destructive habits of destruction. Therefore, de facto, their order.
This sounds a little like how in, say, a game like World of Warcraft, where they have to put in a bunch of different factions and try and make them into this sort of binary idea of everyone has to be on one side or the other. And there's some, like the undead, who really should just be on a side on their own because they disagree with the people on their side all the time. But I guess they sort of have to square them somewhere, so...
Yeah, I mean, Malekith, Tyrion and Teclis are sort of working together on Slaanesh, and they're allied with Sigmar, kind of, and Morathi is kind of Malekith's mum, so there's only so much she can do on her own, I suspect.
Well, in my contribution to this is I like the big snake lady.
She's cool.
I like the model. It looks good.
And I love how it took 5 minutes for people to Photoshop Fulgrim onto it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was sort of obvious it was going to happen, especially considering that, like, the most dynamic and, like, interesting part of it is the lower snake half and how it works into the scenic base and stuff. It's not me being rude talking about lower snake half.
Sounds like you're being a bit
because you're giving me that look.
I am giving you that look. I wonder if they have the anal plate. I wonder if the anal plates are correct. Okay, now, this is apparently a thing.
Okay.
So, if you stare at a snake's butthole, if it's non-venomous, all of the anal plates will be vertical and non-broken up.
Okay.
Whereas if it's a venomous snake, they'll be segmented.
Okay, so if you are about to be bitten by a snake...
Grab it and stare right on its butt.
Stare right up its cloaca, and then you'll be able to tell.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if that snake lady is venomous.
Well, the smaller snakes that are sort of like her descendants can turn people to crystal with a touch.
I mean, I guess that's kind of magical venom, so I'm not sure if that'd count.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, she doesn't have anything particularly poisonous. I mean, she has snake hair, because of course she does.
Yeah, you got it.
But I don't believe she has a poisoned attack. I probably can check that, actually, because some of her stats are actually put out. Does she have a poisonous attack? Yes, her tail is poisonous.
So I know what her cloaca looks like then. So, okay. What? I can green stuff it?
Not that you can see it, because it's actually covered by a robe about halfway down the tail.
That's why she's covering it, so you don't know if she's venomous.
There you go.
Clever girl. Okay, no.
She's a 20-foot tall winged snake demon thing. I think that's the least of your concerns.
Okay, but, I mean, it's just good to know everything about it, you know?
Dear me.
Sorry for derailing everything.
It's fine. It's fine.
I was completely prepared for this.
Yeah, dude. You've seen what I'm like. It's fine.
But yeah, so the rules for those haven't officially come out yet, have they? So it's...
No, we're obviously recording before this comes out, but the pre-orders are going out on February 24th, the Saturday. As for when they'll hit shelves, probably 3rd of March.
Okay, cool. Oh, actually, speaking of the 24th, it's the Black Library weekend thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, Eisenhorn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm going to go down nice and early.
We're going to go and get ourselves our very own Greg.
Because, yeah.
And get a Greg's while we're at it as well.
Yeah. We'll go get a Greg's, pick up a Greg.
Greg Day!
I actually made that mistake. It was years and years ago. everyone said, "Oh, we're going to Greg's," and I actually made the mistake of saying, "Who's Greg?" like a bloody idiot.
Oh, dude!
Bear in mind, we live in my hometown is very small. You can cross it in 20 minutes at my walking speed, half an hour at most people's speed, and everyone practically knows everyone. There is not a single person with that name in our town, and I still cocked it up.
Oh, bless.
We're going to Greg. Who's Greg? Why haven't I heard of him before?
That was a laughing joke for about 5 years after that.
Oh, dude, I think
Yeah.
that's adorable. So.
But yeah, so that's going on. I think they're releasing the new Eisenhorn book, which since I haven't read one of them, but we have played the terrible video game, so
Yes, we have. Oh,
So,
God, that video game.
we have an odd connection.
You put in your time.
Yeah,
We've paid our dues.
I just can't help it. I think it's just because I just love calling him Greg as opposed to Gregor.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, there was didn't we have to keep cutting it out where I get really angry at the guy that you're chasing? I clone, is it? And he kept going, Gregor, and it's like this really creepy way he'd say his name, and it just sounded like he was talking normally, and then he'd put on a fucking stupid voice.
Yeah, it was in the old video we did of it before we did the full Let's Play.
Yeah, and it just made me grind my teeth.
Yeah, you got weirdly fixated.
I did not get weirdly fixated.
with
It
that
was
guy.
just weird and dumb.
Especially considering there's about 57 other issues with the game that rank
Okay,
above one
no,
guy having a slightly
definitely,
shoddy performance.
You're right, but oh my god. And is it Mark Strong?
Mark
Voice
Strong
Greg.
does
Yeah.
Greg's voice, yeah.
Like, he's so fucking great. So it's like, okay, you blew your voice acting budget on Mark Strong there.
I think that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and then you got, I don't know, the guy who has like a speech impediment so he can't pronounce the name Greg properly accounting.
I still don't think his voice acting was that bad. I don't know
No,
why
it's
it
just the way
offends
he
you that
said
much.
Gregor was horrible and it made me fucking grind my teeth. I don't know. It was really dumb.
I still don't know why this stands out in your mind so
Why?
much.
Shut up. It's just a problem I have amongst many with the video game. God dang it.
Regardless, we're going to go get ourselves a Greg.
We're going to go get ourselves a Greg and a Greg's.
Yes, and the whining about the Eisenhorn game segues nicely into the Mechanicus video game.
Yes, actually. I have because we watched the trailer earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to tell you about that, Matt. I don't know if you've watched it.
I have not. I know nothing of this. Literally, the first I heard it was when you said at the start, before we started recording, "Oh, we're going to talk about this thing," and then I was like about to ask what it was, and then we started recording. So,
Well,
completely in the dark.
Drummer Matt reacts live to us bamboozling him. Gone sexual, police called. There we go, I've done our SEO for you dudes.
but yeah, it's a turn-based strategy game from what I read about it.
Yeah, not about Space Marines.
Yeah, not
Ooh,
about Space Marines.
which is cool.
Excellent.
Playing like tech priests and Mechanicum people, which is
the Mechanicum people.
the Mechanicum people.
Yeah, those guys.
I don't know. I just kind of like the idea because it's something which hasn't really been covered
It's a
in a
bit
video
different,
game
isn't it?
before.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it took GW long enough to cover even in the tabletop. So, like, it'll be interesting to see. I can't wait to see some actual gameplay for it.
Yeah, because it's just a teaser out now.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a fair decent team working on it. I mean, Ben Counter's written the story, one of the Black Library
nice.
guys.
I've read at least one of his books.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly which of his books I've read. I think he wrote one of the first Horus Heresy books, so I think I've read that.
Yeah, he wrote one of the first three, I think.
Yeah, it might have been. But yeah, it seems like it's it's got alternate endings and stuff like that, apparently, and far-reaching consequences of your decisions and diddly-diddly-dee, so...
Ooh.
And it explicitly mentions you can do like upgrades and stuff to your guys, which, you know, would presumably have a much more outrageous physical presence than it would on any other like faction.
And it
So
presumably has crafting in it because, you know...
well, it's a video game made in 2018, so it's going to have crafting, yeah.
The fact that it might actually be relevant to the game is kind of irrelevant at this point.
Yeah. But no, it's one to watch out for, I think, because it has the potential to be something interesting, but obviously we don't know until, you know, we actually see some gameplay, because it might come out and then it'll just look exactly like, what was it, Warhammer Arcane Magic, and everyone will just be disappointed all the time.
Yeah, they've got to be careful as well, because Space Hulk was a turn-based tactical strategy game involving squads and stuff, so they've got to be careful not to tread too much on that. And looking at the art style, obviously I know it's obviously 40k's art style, but I'm getting a Space Hulk vibe off of some of
I
it.
think because it looks like it's running in Unreal 3, which makes it look especially like Space Hulk
3?
Deathwing. Unreal 4,
I have
rather.
to say, that's not good.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Wouldn't
okay.
surprise me, but no,
Oh
it's
god,
definitely...
don't say that, because they'll be like, no, we're running
Yeah.
it in Unreal Tournaments engine.
Because it really does look like it's running Unreal 4. I mean, maybe it's not, but it has the look
Yeah.
of something running in that. So, but yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, no, I'm going to keep my eye on that. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, it says it'll be out toward the end of the year, so...
that'll be another game for us to make a Snipe and Wib play on. And
Well, I mean, I guess, you know.
it's
Not
always
like
helpful.
we're honour bound to play pretty much apart from that one N-Gage game we just can't play.
Yeah,
What was it?
Path of Glory,
I
something
can't
like that.
remember.
I always
Yeah,
forget
that's like the one game we'll never be able to play.
because it would involve owning an N-Gage.
Yeah.
Has no one made an N-Gage emulator?
Yeah, but it's really squirrely from what I hear.
Yeah, I tried to get it working a while ago and I just couldn't get it functional.
Yeah.
Maybe they've done some work on it and it works again, but I can't imagine anyone is desperately like trying to play Engage games enough to do that.
Watch everyone just like start emailing us being like, you need to play the Engage game,
No one,
guys!
no one will because no one plays
No,
the
no,
Engage.
there's that one guy who will.
No, you mean
That
that one
one guy.
You mean that one guy you went to college with who had an Engage?
You mean Spliffy Eric? Yeah, that's probably why he had an N-Gage. He wasn't thinking right. We all had Nokias, like, you know, the old school ones where you can make your own ringtones, and it was sick because I just about figured out, almost had to like have the Metal Gear Solid theme by ear. Almost, it was just off, but it was good enough for me. I didn't care that I couldn't play Tomb Raider games. I wanted my Metal Gear Solid ringtone.
Anyway.
Anyway.
So yeah, I guess we can start talking about what we've been up to over the last few weeks.
I mean, I guess we could.
You said you didn't really. You've been a bit busy recently, Michael, so you've not really got much.
Busy in the academic sense of the word, yeah. So I, for the first time in my life, have actually got exam resets to do because I'm on a year abroad in France, and apparently it's quite common for students on years abroad to fail exams, which is disappointing. Especially when it's more than 20% drop in your average mark, but whatever. So I've got those next week. Hopefully get those out of the way and stuff. But that's been sort of taking up my time of late. Other than that, just doing a little bit of hobby here and there, getting some video work done, and yeah, this is the downside to being on a year abroad. You leave your friends at home, and particularly when you're in a foreign country who don't speak the same language. Well, I speak French reasonably, but it's not as easy when you're in a fourth year class and they all know each other and you don't.
Yeah, no. That sounds it's going to be pretty rough on you.
I do find it surreal
Yeah.
that the two of you, like both Michael and Matt, are both British people living in France right now. That's
Why? What's wrong with France?
there's nothing weird.
They have great bread there. There was 2 days ago, all I ate for 2 days was like baguette.
Well-
It was amazing. You guys have it easy.
This is what I've done for the last year.
Oh, I hate you. I'm so envious. Oh my god.
Yeah, 36 cents from the supermarket every day for lunch.
I have to pay fucking 90p from Sainsbury's. Fuck Sainsbury's.
That's why. That's why Sainsbury's is stupidly expensive. It's the first rule of a student. You go to Tesco over
I
Sainsbury's.
know, but
And
like
Aldi and Lidl above those.
we don't have a Tesco anywhere near us. Like the only supermarket that's nearby is Sainsbury's.
Yeah, the supermarket ranking system for a student pretty much goes Aldi slash
yes.
Lidl, Morrison slash Tesco, Sainsbury's, and then if you're really, really going out on a limb, you might go to like Waitrose or M&S, but basically
I went
never.
in when I was a student. I went into Waitrose once and just walked around getting angry because I was like, $5 for a fucking mango. I'm gonna kill a human being before I leave. It was so outrageous. I've never seen anything like it. I became a ball of like fucking rage.
I can understand that. And yeah, all I was saying earlier, I just find it peculiar that to have the two people with such a with such a specific situation to end up on the same podcast. Not that that state is unusual. Just
Are you saying that you don't want our friends
Yeah.
here?
no, that's not what I was saying at all.
I know.
What?
You saying you hate the
Yes,
French?
it is slightly surreal.
Yes.
Yeah, no. Very coincidental.
Yeah, it was definitely surprising.
Yeah, I'm so envious of you guys and getting to enjoy baguettes at like next to no money. And they'll be like really good from the source baguette, like the fountain of baguettes. They'll just go there and they'll get buckets of them every morning.
I don't think you understand how France works.
That's exactly how France works.
What I will say in terms of coming to France is, if you're coming as anything other than a student, it's probably pretty good. The prices are reasonable for the most part. I mean, as I've already mentioned, baguettes are like 35 cents. Here in Grenoble, it's a really good tram network, and surprisingly, when they have a job they need doing, it gets done pretty fast. Like the construction work that's been going on the campus has been done really, really quickly. And there's a lot to see and do, plus you've got the Eurostar, the SNCF, which is really, really fast and you can get around really easily. Its university system, on the other hand...
A bit fucky.
Yeah. I know the British system has its problems. Off £9,000 tuition fees and stuff.
I was going to say, it's a damn size cheaper in France, at least.
Yes, but you get what you pay for. I'll tell you that. Both in terms of where you live and what you learn, you get what you very well pay for.
Well, at least there's 36 cents baguettes, I guess.
Swings and roundabouts.
Of course, I'm the one fixating on food.
Yeah, although to be fair, if you wanted to make your own baguettes, don't live in halls because you don't even get an oven.
Oh,
yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
even like actual flats, not even in halls. Like if you get a lot of the flats here just don't have ovens in. You'll have like a little microwave oven combo thing that you have to buy, but it won't come with the house. It's very surreal.
Yeah, like so back at home, the halls system that you have at most universities is 4 to 8 people ish in a flat. In sort of like a complex, and they'll share bathrooms or they'll have en suites, and they'll share a kitchen. It's got like an oven, it's fully kitted out, oven, microwave, kettle, toaster, hob, the works. Here, it's 30 people on a corridor, sharing one kitchen, which has a grand total of 8 hot plates.
Oh, good.
That's it. And everyone gets a mini fridge that that wouldn't even fit my Warhammer collection.
Oh god.
So I'm assuming most people live off sandwiches.
No, baguettes.
Well, to be fair, there are the system. This is what they call a cruce. Sorry, I will roll my R's because it's the French pronunciation. They have like restaurants on campus. So you go there, and that's sort of the way they do things. Is they have lunch off site or on site at uni. But if you want to have anything in town, if you want to have anything out for dinner, you're going into town, and that's 20 minutes on the tram. Nothing on the university campus stays open after about... The uni buildings themselves stay open until about 8. Everything else shuts at about 3. And the supermarket shuts at 9, which is very weird.
What?
Yeah, and it's closed on Sundays.
I do remember encountering this the one time I've been to France, of just wondering why everything was closed whenever I needed it.
Because they knew you were English.
Yeah, it's
that's fair.
It's like I could come in. Last semester, I had a day which was 8 in the morning until 6:30 in the evening with breaks. So I come home from uni at 6:30. I would then have to choose: do I go shopping and eat late, or do I eat and potentially risk the shop not having anything in it?
Oh. Yeah, no. They need to wake up, France. Come on.
The French themselves actually really nice people. It's the south. It's the south of France. So apparently this is the nice end of France, rather unlike the north of England, which is the nice half of England. And yes, I'm not going to apologise for saying that.
No, you're completely correct. And anyone who disagrees is a filthy southerner. I've been here long enough. I can make those jokes.
I think as I've said a couple of times. You see, we're from Matt and I are from the Midlands, and
you mean that country, that part of the country that a lot of people refuse to admit exists.
Whilst it is not part of the North or the South, in a war it will always side with the North.
Yeah,
so
yes, and the North will not welcome you.
Well, yeah, but,
there is that. My slight caveat to that is that it's not. I've come to decide that it's not a north-south thing. It's a proximity from London thing. Because if you get far enough west to Bristol or down into the down west ways, it's actually it's fine again. It's not a north-south thing. It's just that the closer you get to London, the more dicks there are. It's a terrible fool.
And it's funny. I was I made a video a long time ago about like the languages of the Imperium, so sort of like the cants of the Mechanicus, High and Low Gothic, and how like from planet to planet people cannot understand each other's Low Gothic. And I think it was Remlays left a comment, so it's like when a Northerner meets a Southerner then.
Yeah.
Hey up, ducky, what's up your bum?
That was terrible.
What the hell?
That was my best Midlands, isn't it beautiful? That's
what the actual hell?
Okay, fuck all of you. That was the best I could do.
I mean, I can't do a Brummy accent to save my life. I mean, I've got one of the softer Northern accents by comparison. It's not broad by the standards of Mancunians or Yorkshiremen, but yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, I am from the very deep south. That is my excuse.
As in hemisphere.
Yes.
Yeah.
God, I did when I first started coming to school here, when my accent was a hell of a lot stronger. Because I moved around schools a lot, and I remember like my first day at a school in Nottingham, and I went in and they were like, "Oi, are you from Birmingham?" I was like, "You fucking what, mate?" Like, what? Are you serious right now? Do you have ears, sir? I'm like completely deadpan, like, "Oh no, you sound like you're from Birmingham."
Yeah, but you went to
what the fuck is wrong with you?
You went to school with people that didn't believe that your name was your name and didn't believe that you were really Australian.
I literally had to show my passport to people because they wouldn't believe that I was foreign.
Which is...
And even then they were like, "Oh no, fake passports are pretty easy to get." It's like, oh fuck.
Are they really?
No, they aren't. Not that I would know.
I think that suggests more about the type of people that are saying that to you, that they know how difficult it is to get a fake passport.
Yeah, no.
I have no idea. I've never needed one.
I would imagine it's probably a little bit difficult to get a fake passport. Not endorsing that. Just saying.
To be fair, it's probably less of a pain in the arse than getting a real one.
It's probably cheaper than getting a real one as well. Not endorsing fake passports.
Anyway, let's try and get this podcast back on the vague rails it started on.
I'm here. Good
luck.
So
Snipe, what have you been up to?
Absolutely nothing.
Good.
No. I've been working myself to death over commissions, so I've not really been doing much. I've been playing more Ghost Clancy's Boys.
Good.
I played the DLC for that, and it was actually pretty well done. For the Fallen Ghosts DLC. Yeah. They introduced new enemy types and new drone types and a couple of new weapons, which I'm kind of angry doesn't carry over into the main game, because there's a semi-automatic 50 caliber rifle that I fell in love with, the BFG something. Oh. So obviously I fell in love with it. They also have like attack drones where you can fire a couple of bullets, kind of like Twitch's, like Zappy drone from Rainbow Six Siege.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, like they've got new guys that basically can camouflage themselves, like optic, like light bending camouflage. So you've got to use thermals if you want to see them. They've also got portable jammer people who are carrying jammers, and I think that does kind of amp up the difficulty quite well, considering you're supposed to play that after you've rocked the main campaign. It's only about like a few hours long, but it's still very fun.
Is it like on the same map?
No, it's a new map.
Oh, okay.
You got new factions and stuff, and like the intro is pretty cool. Like they have a Predator reference in the beginning because your chopper gets down. Spoilers for literally the first 30 seconds, and like one of the as you're kind of like you have to regroup because you're all falling out your helicopter because it got blowed up. And you bump into one of your guys, and he's like, "Wow, Heat Seeker, that's pretty sophisticated for a bunch of half-assed mountain boys." And I'm like, "Yes!" Ah!
I guess...
I get so excited about those.
I guess considering this is a game that has a mission in it where you literally hunt a predator, then them just making a reference to it somehow doesn't pique my interest quite as much as it normally would.
No, it still made me... Because they didn't copy it word for word, they did paraphrase, and I was like, I like that. But yeah, I still haven't beat Jerry the Predator.
You need to go back and beat him.
I need to go back and beat him. But yeah. I found that quite entertaining.
Okay.
I've also been watching Tokyo Ghoul, that anime about people who eat people.
Excuse me while I completely tune out because it's anime.
No, that's fine. I usually would as well. It's a self-preservation instinct. But yeah, recently released the second series on Netflix, and I had to watch the entirety of the first season again because I had no fucking clue what was going on. And it's pretty interesting. It's about there's these kind of weird humanoid demon things that are called ghouls that have to subsist on human flesh because I guess it's anime and it's horrible. And well, the main character, he becomes half a ghoul because he basically gets in an accident and he accepts organs from a ghoul, so it kind of he's like kind of like a half and half ghoul human kind of thing. And it's just his adventures on I don't want to eat people. Oh no, it's so bad. And, like, a bunch of ghouls are like, well, then don't eat people. Here, have some coffee. It will stop you from being hungry. So it's just basically a bunch of caffeine addicts who are also cannibals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Anime explained badly with Snipe.
I don't know, even anime explained badly still makes more sense than anime explained well most of the time.
You know, you're not wrong.
I do feel what you're saying about the whole, I can't remember what happened in the first series, so I had to go back and look at it before doing that. It's the same with, well, it's not just anime, like with books. I was reading, what was I reading? I was reading Adeptus Mechanicus, and I got about like 10 chapters in before I came to France, and then I never picked the book up again until I was going to the airport to fly home again in December. So it was like 3 months I hadn't touched the book. I had to just go back a couple of chapters to catch myself up on what had just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I caught up with Venture Brothers a couple of weeks ago.
Couple of weeks.
I wanted to say months, but then I realised it was weeks. Thanks for calling me out on that.
You're welcome.
Okay.
I'm glad I could humiliate you in front of the internet.
That's fine.
That's fine.
I've made a career out of that.
Oh.
But yeah, I had to. I started watching from where I hadn't seen episodes from, and I was like, I have no idea what's happening. I had to go back and watch the last episode of the previous season to kind of get myself in check. And sometimes
you've especially fucked it with Venture Brothers because every season they have 3 years break.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there is, when you have long gaps between shows or releases, it definitely is one of those you go, I've got to go back and see
Absolutely.
this again.
One of these, we hadn't watched any Venture Brothers for about 7 years, and it's like, oh, how many seasons have they done in that time? Oh, 2.
Yeah.
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 So it's like, okay.
It's that kind of thing where you don't want to not watch it, but you're also like, well, I'll just wait until it's finished. Because then I'll stop, because then I'll, my watch time will be cut in, half. Because I won't have to keep rewatching all the seasons.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, would you recommend Tokyo Ghoul?
If you're interested, I mean, try and find the uncensored version, because Netflix, I'm pretty sure, I can't prove this, when I watched the season originally, because it's incredibly gruesome, you've got people eating each other, and, they stab each other with these weird, things that come out of their, lower backs and stuff, because supernatural beings, I guess. And there's a part in the second season which there's my major grievance with it, apart from the fact it started just going generic anime with the whole the protagonist went through a horrible thing and now his hair is white and he has this weird hidden agenda. It's like, oh, I don't fucking care about generic angsty anime protagonists.
Yeah.
I don't care. But yeah, the first episode of the second season should have been the last episode of the first season because it actually has cliffhangers.
Okay.
And it's really fucking weird.
Maybe it was originally shown that one was an episode that was shown on its own and they didn't do the rest of the season for a few months.
I don't know.
Sometimes TV series will do that. So.
No, I honestly have no idea.
Sort of like a standalone special type thing.
Yeah, maybe that was how it was originally.
Maybe. I honestly don't know. But yeah, there's a fight scene between him and this guy who's been torturing him. Very mild spoiler. And he kind of this guy grabs his leg and he twists it all the way around and all the skin kind of twists and bones splinter out in all directions. But, it's horrible. And, he kind of, stands back down and he goes, oh, you think that'd hurt after all the shit you did to me? Because ghouls have,
kid.
Nothing personnel, kid. You made me use 10% of my power. But no, because ghouls have, advanced healing. They're, they heal a lot quicker. And for some reason, the main character can heal even quicker than that because he's Super Special Boy. And he kind of stands there and just, moves his leg and it snaps back into place. And it's of course, in the rewatching it, there's a big black line and you can't see. It's the things they've chosen to censor are sometimes less gory than what they've not censored.
So the versions you originally saw didn't have these censors.
I'm pretty sure, because I've watched it this time and just gotten really mad at it, because it's look, it's an 18+. I've seen worse things on Netflix, way worse things. So why did they censor? I get you know, like censoring it for TV or whatever, that's fine. But this is Netflix, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
You get some horrible fucking shit on there.
See, this is one of those things where you can...
Hobo with a shotgun on Netflix, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. This is where you're going to look it up afterwards and you can find out there is no censorship job.
I'm certain, because like because that kind of stuff pisses me off. Because I was, look, if I want to watch a gory anime, just show me everything. Show me teeth and fucking brains. I don't care. I've got a pretty strong stomach when it comes to that stuff, and it just like it bugs me. I think I'm just not used to that kind of thing on Netflix. But yeah, and like say like there's one where like this guy grabs a guy by the head and he's just repeatedly smashing his head into like the corners of like cabinets and the side of walls, and he's like rubbing his face along broken glass, and it's fucking horrible. And there's like blood spraying all over the fucking walls, and it's like, okay, that's fine. Whereas like there's literally a part in the second season where a character gets their kagune, that's their weird spine thing that comes out and attacks people, eaten by another ghoul.
Their weird spine thing that comes out.
They had like that comes out of the lower back. They're like kind of weird like tentacle things that come out because, you know, anime. And like there's little bits like I'm trying to think of a thing, but yeah, like there'll be somebody standing there with like their hand has been removed, and it's not like pissing blood in the like the comedic anime way, and there'll be a big black line over that, and it's like, what? I saw a character like devour another character in a really nasty, horrible way. But no. I saw that guy smash this guy. Or there'll be like blood on somebody, but they'll censor it. And it's like, look, censor all of it or don't. And it's just kind of frustrating for me.
I got that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hide it well. I really do. But no, if you're interested in kind of like... That's the thing I like about Japanese media, or just media that isn't like European, well, English, I guess, is... Everyone's kind of got their own tropes and their own kind of ideas about things. So the Japanese got some really interesting kind of ghost stories and like demon stories and things like that. And so I'd say if you're interested in that kind of stuff, definitely give it a watch. But you know, don't get too angry about the censorship or the fact that the main character goes a bit wanky. Well, they probably won't if they're watching it for the first time. Yeah, no, that's fine. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Watch the first episode of the new Black Mirror series as well.
Oh yeah, the Star Trek one.
The Star Trek one.
The not Star Trek one. But
it was so Star
obviously.
Trek. It's like, oh yeah, space fleet, and the guy who's like the captain does a fantastic Shatner.
Excellent. Yes, he really does, doesn't he?
He really does.
Did you?
Like, it was interesting.
This is more directed to you, Matt. But did you appreciate how at the start of the episode it's like all Shatner era original series? Yeah. Like it's in 4:3 and it's a bit grainy and the costumes are crap. And then throughout the episode, it gets later and later to the end. The end, it's got like full J.J. Abrams sort of like lens flares and things.
Yeah,
it's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
The amount of lens flares in that final bit is truly glorious. It's like I have never seen something that is a more obvious, like, mocking gesture at the J.J. Abrams Star Trek.
That was pretty good.
It's glorious.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think apart from that, not been doing a super amount. Just working myself to death over commissions because I'm a grueling artist. And that's what I do.
Okay then. So Matt, what have you been up to? What is the game that you have decided to play this week?
So my game of the fortnight, which spoiler alert might be my game of the next few episodes because it's a big one. As I mentioned last time, I've started playing Fallout 4.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a game you're not going to put down again.
Yeah, this is going to be me for the next, at least, I'm going to say 6 episodes.
That's fine.
Yeah, Fallout, Stellaris, those sorts of games are just like, right, except I'm here for the long haul.
Yeah, this is my life now.
Even as someone that isn't like a fan of the Fallout series, like I think I put in like 45 to 50 hours into that down.
You did.
I started playing last week and I'm up to about 12 or 13, so I'm not doing too bad, like I'm not spending my entire life on it. But
Yet.
But yeah, no, in general, I'm very much enjoying it. It's a little bit, so this is spoilers to the story, but it's the opening thing, so it's the whole premise of the whole game basically, so it's not really a spoiler.
Also, the story is terrible, so it doesn't matter.
Well, yeah.
And the game's ancient by this point, like 2 years nearly.
Okay, yeah, I still feel guilty for spoiling anything in, Anyway.
Well, it's like occasionally people will get really mad at people for spoiling bits of Final Fantasy VII.
Ares dies, by the way. People.
Stop! Now we're going to get people angry. Oh, no.
My point was, so you're frozen with your wife and kid, and then halfway through the freeze, like, someone comes in and kills your wife and steals your kid.
I was frozen with my husband.
Well, yes, if you...
I wanted a wife, though.
Okay, yeah, no, sorry, yeah, okay, whichever gender you choose to play as. Yeah.
And
sorry,
you also
I'm just messing with you.
You also said baby rather than hideous slug child.
Well, okay, yeah, hideous slug child.
Bethesda.
It's like that thing Kitty Pryde pulls out of that weird, like, alien metal.
But, so then
yes.
you wake up and your first thought is, right, okay, I need to go and find my kid. But then the game's like, but look at how pretty everything is. And look, there's a side quest over here and there's a side quest over here. And the thing is, it does that quite well. But then you start doing these side quests. And then it says, to compound it all, it then says, actually, you know what? There's a base here, which you don't really have any connection to. But you can hang out here for the next, I'm going to say, IRL time, at least a week. So game time, probably months, building a settlement. And you're like, but I want to, like, what? It's just, it's very, jarring. Because I'm massively enjoying the base building bit, and I'm massively enjoying all of the side quests, but because of that, I'm not at all caring about going to where I think my kid might be. So I'm like, well, why bother putting that story bit in if it's going to encourage you and make all the side quests and things so enjoyable? Like, I'm not complaining because I'm enjoying the game, don't get me wrong.
It's just at odds with the story.
But it's just like, well, if I'm playing in character right now, I'm just legging it as fast as I can towards where any information I could possibly find about my kid. And it's just so weird that you're not. I don't know, it's like...
Isn't that just Bethesda game design 101 though? Because Skyrim is like the game of the endless side quests.
And it doesn't help that I like to do as many side quests because I don't like missing things, and that's just how I play games. I will do as many side quests as possible before moving the main story on. But I'm getting the feeling that I could just completely not do... I could do all of the side quests in the whole game from the look of it without bothering with the main story, because which is nice to give you the choice, but for me that means I'm never going to do the story. So
I mean, I haven't played Fallout 4. I played New Vegas, and I played a lot of New Vegas, so I know what you mean about getting a bit sidetracked, but the beauty of New Vegas was always like, as much as you were doing side quests and going this, that, the other place and getting trapped between things that you couldn't actually escape from, having to reset your game. Well done, Nick.
No, I think that's just Bethesda in general.
It was really embarrassing. I basically got stuck. Where did I get stuck? I can't remember now. I was near Nipton. I got trapped near Nipton. I couldn't go one way or the other because raiders were going to kill me. But I know what you mean. But the beauty of New Vegas was always, even if you were doing the side quest, you felt like you were actually making a difference. Whereas Fallout, I've seen a lot of Fallout 4, and the side quests just seem to be entertaining, but just there. They don't really shape anything. They're just sort of, they are a distraction rather than actual contribution to the state of...
Yeah, I honestly, I've done enough, but I haven't played enough to see what the consequences are or aren't, so I honestly couldn't... All I can say is I enjoyed doing them, but I don't know how it's going to affect anything.
Also, you know, I guess your kid is missing, but it's fine.
But yeah, that's the thing, I'm just like, well... I just feel like my character is just like running around, just like internally screaming, while I'm just not letting him go to where he's wants to be going.
Honestly, it reminds me. There's quite a funny like line drop in Evil Within 2. For those who don't know, you are looking for your daughter.
Okay.
In Evil Within 2, and you can also go to like the shooting range, like mini games where you can go and just like it's like you shoot blocks out and it's like puzzles. And, like, occasionally after he will do a big old, like, shooty puzzle or whatever in, like, your home hub kind of area, he'll just stop and go, yeah, I guess I should get back to that whole finding my daughter thing. And it's like, okay, I was really on board with this until that. It's like, that is so meta.
Sort of lampshading it so
really,
much,
yeah. And it's like, it would be funny if Fallout 4 has something like every time you do a side quest, it's like, oh yeah, that kid what I have.
It doesn't.
I know, it should, but oh well.
Like it's like I've beaten the main storyline, and like I've done bits and pieces of the side quests and stuff. Like I haven't 100%ed it or anything, but I did like enough that I wanted to, and it was. Like, it is a slightly, like, frustrating game because you do realise that 90% of what you did was fucking pointless.
The best type of side quests are the ones you sit there and go, "What the fuck is the point of this?"
But the weird thing is that like I often found that with the Bethesda RPGs is that I never really liked how open they start off.
Bit overwhelming.
Because quite often they give you this huge world, but I wouldn't be given a reason to care about it because I'm not going into it caring about it because I don't have like a connection to the Elder Scrolls series or the Fallout series like at all.
Yep.
So like I want a reason to care, and some of the earlier ones didn't really give me enough of a reason to care. And the Fallout 4 being much more on rails in terms of its narrative. Because even though you can just ignore the main quest line, once you're on it, it's quite a direct kind of thing.
Yeah, and the game does try to poke you so that I don't know how much I'm going to spoil here, but you come out and you go straight to pretty much quest marker number 1 is go there, which points you to where story marker number 2 is. And the quest, if you do just follow the quest that the game gives you, you will probably get to the end of the game in I don't know how many hours, and you can completely sequence break it like you could Fallout 3. And I think, what's the world record? Something like half an hour?
Jesus.
I know it's under an hour, the world record for Fallout 4.
Okay.
But yeah, like I personally,
That's just how many bad side quests there are.
like I kind of appreciated it being a little bit more on rails for that reason, because it meant that it sort of pushed me through the not giving a shit at all about everything.
Yeah.
And making me give up, which I'd done with every other Bethesda game's main quest.
Yeah, so I was meaning to ask. I was like, so from what I've played, like, because I haven't done this is very little story wise, because like I said, I haven't done a single main quest yet, despite playing the game for 12 or so hours.
Dude, this game will kill you. Just go and do the main story.
But from what I've seen so far, is basically identical to Fallout 3 gameplay wise. So that like. I played
mechanically, it's a lot better.
Like,
as in the guns actually feel like they're guns that you can shoot and people die from them, as opposed to this vague nonsense that the Fallout 3 engine was.
Maybe. I mean, I played it when it was first out, so that's a long time ago. Fallout 3, and I honestly don't remember it being any different.
Well, you've got aim down sight for one. VATS has been reworked. Criticals have been reworked.
I haven't used VATS at all yet so far.
How?
Because
how have you got through 12 hours without using
because
VATS?
It's crap. I don't because I'm playing as like a stealthy snipery type. I can headshot without VATS, and if I go to VATS, it's like you have a 2% chance to hit. Like, well, no, I'll get 100% if I choose. It's probably down to my choices and how I'm playing it, but I just haven't needed VATS at all. So I'm just like, I press the Q button to bring it up as I'm running around to try and spot guys in the distance quickly.
Yeah,
you're using it as a spotter.
Yeah, basically.
To be fair, that's half of what you do with VATS. Like, VATS is 50% aimbot, 50% scanner.
So yeah, okay. To be fair, I am using VATS, but just for that purpose, and then I immediately get rid of it, aim properly.
Yeah, but like you got aim down sight compared to Fallout 3.
Did Fallout 3 not have that? It has been a long time since I played. So.
Only sniped weapons, so weapons with an actual scope, had proper aim down sights.
This is starting to explain why I haven't noticed the difference.
Well, because, dude, have you even played Fallout 3?
You can also sprint, which you couldn't
do in
Fallout
I forgot
3.
everything about. Okay, I take back my question. It's been a long time, guys, since I played Fallout 3.
Yeah, evidently.
I've not played Fallout 3.
Alright, cheers for that. Just completely saving me.
So of this group of people, you are the only one that has played Fallout 3 for more than an hour.
And you remember
but
nothing
you know
about
the least about it.
It was a very long time ago.
In defense of my actual knowledge of Fallout 3, I've watched a lot of Fallout. I've watched both the You Only Live Once Fallout runs a lot. I know those games relatively well.
Yeah.
Better than Drummer Matt.
Yeah, apparently. Okay, fair enough.
But are you enjoying Fallout 4?
That's what I said right at the start. Like, I am massively enjoying it, and I'm really enjoying the setting, and I am enjoying the base building bits. I've not done that much of it, but I've done the bits where it told me to and things, and I'm getting a bit overwhelmed by the amount of crap you can collect, because I have to like.
You can also
clear
mod your power armor so you can have Space Marine armor.
Yeah, I don't. Well, because being the whole sneaky, my power armor is. I had to walk with it back to the settlement, and then I put it on the rack, and then it stayed there.
You're going to need it. I'll say that.
Okay, I've got a lot. I've got a lot of fusion cores for it already. So
I don't know. I think in the entire game, I only use the power armor for like the 2 missions where you have to, and then never use them again.
Because you were scared of
using it. There's no mission where you actually are forced to use it. There's just a couple where it's highly recommended.
Yeah. But apart from those, I didn't really use it. I kind of saved them for like when I'd kind of got to the end of the game and I'd beaten the main kind of quest line, and then there was like a few little settlements and things that were supposed to be super difficult to beat. And so I was like, fuck it, I'll just go and take my power armor and would just go in and just murderize everyone.
Yeah.
Because by that point I got the, what's it called? Is it the Exo 1 armor or whatever it is?
Exo 1 is the top grade armor.
Yeah.
Unlocks after level 27.
Yeah, because that shows you how late in the game it was before I actually started using power armor that I got that. Like,
yeah, I think the only Exo 1 armor you can get at level below that is the Quantum armor in Nuka World, but yeah, that's a DLC.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, Fallout 4's a weird one. Like, I think I enjoyed it, but it's also kind of bad. But it's good. It's bad.
It was divisive. I think the dialogue thing was what put a lot of people off.
Yeah.
Like, they completely reworked the dialogue system to go from here's a list of things you can say and like actual percentage speech checks diddly diddly dee to a random pick 4 things and not quite sure what my character's going to say.
And normally
it turns you into Commander Shepard.
Yeah, and normally 3 of them mean pretty much the same thing anyway.
Yeah.
So my only 2 points. So funny, this is like interesting things that have happened so far. Every time I talk to someone, because you don't get a percentage chance as you mentioned, but there's some options that you've got a chance of passing or failing. I have a suit and a hat that gives me bonus charisma, so every time I get to one of those, I'm in my like combat gear, and I'm just like, hang on, wait, hold that thought, let me get changed.
Yep. Yeah.
Which is
let me change into my fedora.
Let me just put my hat on and then completely strip out of my combat fatigues into my dirty black suit, which for some reason gives me 2 charisma, and then I'm going to ask you a question.
Honestly, no, dude, it's nothing to do with your hat or your coat or your suit. It's
dirty suit.
Dirty suit. Imagine me going up to you and going, dude, wait. And then I just undress in front of you and put on someone else's clothes and go, give me 50 quid. You're gonna fucking do it, aren't you?
I don't know. I would have had closed my eyes and put my fingers in my ears at that point, so...
Okay, imagine some random stranger comes up to you and just starts undressing. It's like, don't go anywhere. What are you gonna fucking
At that point, you probably call the police.
Exactly.
In this day and age.
We are the police in this game, so sort of.
Yeah.
Okay. But I am massively enjoying it. The only downside, as I was starting to say earlier, is because I like trying to do as many side quests before the main quest, I said, and also I like try and collect everything in case it's useful later. So it means that I've had at least a few occasions where I've cleared out an area, teleported home, dropped off stuff, teleported back, run through it again to pick up all of the stuff that I've left. And I was like, this is probably like a waste of time. And it just slows down the game so much. But I'm like, I can't not do it.
Also beware of the Radiant quests, i.e. the quest that never ends. You complete it and it gives you another one, and then another one, and then another one that you can never finish.
Oh, God.
There are those quests that exist, and there are certain characters who are infamous for giving them out.
Right.
Yeah, dude, that game's gonna kill you.
Yeah, but I'm the sort of person where it's gonna take me a while. But I'll try and keep up with I'll just have to have some small... I'll need to get some recommendations at some point for some short games that I can then actually talk about. Because
Witcher 3.
Yeah, Witcher 1 was... I mentioned I started about that a while ago, but I just Fallout is... So I could play with the original Witcher, but Fallout, so...
I have never been more disappointed in my fellow man.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
The Witcher is so hard to get into. I've tried a couple of times.
Okay.
I will. It's on my list, and I will at some point. But,
I'm sure.
Other than that, I've just got a couple of quick TV recommendations. So I have not much to say about them, but they're both Netflix shows that we've been watching. Although the first one, it was a Channel 4 thing, so I don't actually in the UK, so I don't know. As we mentioned last time, with Star Trek and the Netflix original, but not in the country it was made thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know in the UK if it's on Channel 4 or Netflix or whatever. But we watched The End of the Fucking World.
I watched that too.
Yeah, we watched that. Yeah,
It's great, isn't it?
It's pretty good.
yeah.
I really, really enjoyed it.
I can recommend that, but also it's very British in the way it's not saccharine sweet. So get ready for that grit.
Definitely. But also, it's based off an American comic.
What? Really?
Yeah. But the setting's been changed to sort of the UK, but actually, like, we was reading an interview with the creator of the TV show, and she was saying that it's set all the settings, because when you're watching it, like, all the cars are like, it's set now, but all the cars are kind of like 70s cars, and the settings they don't look like it's the UK, but they all have UK. It's just like it's just like, this is really interesting. And it was intentionally chosen, like, all these settings and things, to make you sort of feel slightly off guard all the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very, very good show about two kids who basically run away, like, I say kids, like 17, 18, I think, who run away from home.
Oh, those
and
crazy
things
kids.
escalate a bit. But yeah, I really, really, well, we both really enjoyed it. It's a good mix of, like, funny, and the kids are quite adorable, but idiots, but...
And they've got this kind of, there's like this grim black humour there as well.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
That's why when I first looked up the comic, and, like, if you want to buy it on Amazon, it's about 180 quid, because it was printed, like, how many years ago, like, and they didn't print that many of them. But you can get the Kindle version of it and things, which I haven't done, but I might do at some point. But yeah, it was an American comic originally.
Oh, I didn't realise, because I've seen a few screenshots of the comic and been like, okay, the art style's fucking weird. But
that doesn't surprise me, considering I don't know what happens in it.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, that's I haven't come across this there. I have not watched TV aside from the Six Nations in the last 6 months. But when you say about the grim black humour type sort of thing, I can understand immediately why you think it would be British, because there is nobody who does that humour other than the British.
Yeah, there's that very British like sense of just everything. It's like the end of Time Bandits. Always, like, that always stuck with me. It's like that's a bit too grim. It's that kind of everything is horrible, but it's still funny, but you feel like a twat for laughing.
I've heard some of the... obviously, you have to be able to speak the language or find a subtitled or dubbed version, but I've heard that some of the, like, Scandinavian comedies and things are so dark that
Finnish comedy is really dark.
to a non-resident of that place, they don't even appear to be comedies, because they're just bleak horror.
Well, if it's that cold, yeah.
I've heard that they are way worse than British humour. It's just that obviously more people understand English, so more people have seen the British stuff. So
the English gallows humour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in where was I? I was in a lab. I was in a clean room doing. I was building a semiconductor in labs, because apparently that's the good thing this system has. It has good labs, and we were just finishing off this step, and I knew there were like 2 or 3 more steps to do, and I was like, "So we're done, right?" Just completely just off the cuff to the demonstrator in French, of course. I was like, "So we're done." And anyone who knows that I was British, and if I was speaking in English, would know immediately that I was joking. And I think he took me completely at face value. Note to self, do not be sarcastic unless you make it painfully obvious you're being sarcastic.
You need to hold up a little sign that says sarcasm on it so
French.
People know.
Yeah.
I was in a clean room, I wouldn't have been able to carry the sign in with
If
me.
you want to do humour in France, you've pretty much got to do puns, which means that your language has got to be pretty
Dad
good.
jokes.
Ooh.
Yeah, you've got to be very, very good. I sometimes understand when they make jokes, because I have to sit right at the front of lectures, and the lecturers sometimes do say something that is apparently funny, and half the time I get it. And I think the odd lecturer knows how to be sarcastic, but they build up to the sarcastic punchline, whereas with Brits it's completely off the cuff, and it's out of nowhere sarcasm, and just like... Yeah, nobody's going to understand that because I'm British and we don't do humour the same way. And it's something when you watch... like, my brother really likes Friends and Impractical Jokers and stuff. And like, those American sitcoms. I find them incredibly cringeworthy and I can't watch them.
They are really kind of just really creepy almost. Like, really fake and
Yeah, and they're
weird.
so... Yeah, and it's so in your face and predictable that it's just like... I don't want to see this because I know exactly what's going to happen and it's not going to be funny. I mean, it takes a lot for me to find something amusing, but it just doesn't appeal to me at all. It's like I'd much rather take the Royal Family was one that we always used to watch, and I'm sure if you're British, you probably watched the Royal Family at some point.
I never got that show, but I think it was probably not for me.
That's like quintessentially British.
Yeah, I never got it. I was just like, God, this makes me uncomfortable. It just always made me uncomfortable. No idea why.
My granddad wasn't particularly keen on it. He was Welsh, but he is Welsh, but he didn't particularly like it either. Maybe it's because it swore too much.
I didn't mind the swearing. I was just like, no, everyone's kind of gross, and they're all kind of really weird fucking people. It's just, I don't know, maybe growing up on like American media and Australian media was just a bit too clean for me.
Yeah, something like the Royal Family and there's plenty others that would not work anywhere but in Britain.
Like fucking League of Gentlemen.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking God. That is terrifying. That scared the fuck out of me. Complaining about Scandinavian humour.
But it's a comedy, though. It's not scary.
It's not a comedy. The fucking Christmas special. I couldn't sleep for a fucking week after seeing that fucking thing. Oh my God.
Yeah, the Christmas special of League of Gentlemen was straight up mostly just a horror episode.
Mostly.
I've not seen it.
It's horrifying. Oh God.
Just straight up home invasion. It's like, there's no punchline.
It's just like, look at these horrible things happening at Dutch angles.
You can tell the difference between an American and a British comedy show, usually because of the live audience laughing sound effect.
Oh, got the canned laughter,
Yeah, and apart from like Only Fools and Horses, like a lot of the British comedies don't do it. It's like Outnumbered. I don't know if you guys watched Outnumbered, but
no.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That, and I mean, okay, I'm telling a lie actually, because like some of the really good British ones, like Not Going Out and Only Fools and Summer Wine, did have it actually. I'll shut up. I'm rubbish.
I think it depends. Ones that a lot of the studio-based ones tended to have it here.
Well, then the young ones and the and Red Dwarf had laugh tracks.
Red Dwarf had a laugh track, except for the special editions of season 7 where they removed the laugh track, so people would tell a joke and then there'd be an awkward silence for 5 seconds.
They should have just put in a folded like a cough. That would have made it funny.
Because that was the version I had on VHS, and I remember watching it and going, "What's wrong?" And it was like, "Oh yeah, because they've removed the canned laughter because that was the first one that wasn't filmed. I think that was the one that wasn't filmed in front of a studio. So the laughter wasn't. It was like done in post, so they had to leave gaps for the laughter to be there. So yeah, so
and
when
they forgot to put it in.
No, they removed it for the special edition ones that were extended.
Yeah,
that was really weird. That was weird.
Yeah, that's an
Also, I've heard in a lot of American shows they've been using the same canned laughter sound effect since the 50s.
Yeah, as someone who grew up with predominantly American media, I can confirm.
Yeah, but that doesn't surprise me though, because it's like it's conditioning you to hear a sound to find things funny. So if it's the same laughter and you're used to that same sound, that doesn't surprise me that they use the exact same track. Actually,
it's Pavlov's bell.
Like, yeah, wouldn't you notice it?
Conspiracy. This is also we find You've Been Framed jokes funny. God, fuck You've Been Framed.
You know what? Watching You've Been Framed now, because I saw a bit of an episode over Christmas, is so surreal because they're still using clips from like the mid-90s. Like you can see the shitty little thing in the corner, like from an old style VHS camera, like with the date on it, and you're like
1992, and you're like, the fuck? These people are dead by now. They've had like great grandchildren. It's over.
You are sitting there going, God, so the people that sent this in got the £250 or whatever, but they've been using this for decades. Like they've got their money's worth out of every clip. Because they could just go on YouTube and use clips from that, because Lord knows plenty of shows just steal stuff from YouTube anyway.
They do, yeah.
But yeah, it's really surreal. They still use those.
They still use the horrible 3D animations of like the little VHSs.
Yeah. It's like they're still using VHS which must be incredibly confusing to some of the younger children watching.
I guess it just goes to show how much money that show's making, that they never have to do anything. It's basically the EA.
Well, I imagine it doesn't make much money.
That's a bit cruel.
That is the harshest insult.
EA is the devil.
Yeah.
I imagine it doesn't make much money, but I imagine at this point it costs basically nothing to make. You just have to get Harry Hill or whoever's doing the voiceover these days.
Yeah, there was that lady Lisa something, I can't remember. There's like a few people who sit there I remember one specific joke. She was like, "Oh, I remember when I was at school and we would open the dictionary and underline words like Willy, and then it just left." I was like, "This is some kind of thought experiment. This is somebody's watching me and how I react right the fuck now."
It's like
because
weird.
that was so out of nowhere. It's like occasionally like her popping in, going, "Everything is fine." And
It's
then
fine.
popping out
It's
again.
like avant-garde humour. You're just not
I'm
highbrow
just not
enough to
getting
get it.
Yeah, it's too smart for me. Ugh.
Anyway, before we're on that tangent,
Yeah, the second of the quick recommendations that I was going for.
Yes, the quick recommendation.
However long ago that was. We started watching a new series, again Netflix, Glow.
I've watched all of Glow and it's really good.
Isn't it
Yes.
excellent? I've not.
Yeah, but it's also,
We've just watched episode 8, so we've got 2 left, I think. I think
Nice.
there's 10.
Also, watch the real Glow or whatever, which is like a documentary.
Yeah,
on Netflix
because
as well.
it was. They decided to make this after watching that documentary, apparently. For anyone who doesn't know, it's Glow. It's gorgeous ladies of wrestling.
Glamorous ladies of
glamorous
wrestling.
ladies of wrestling. That's the one.
Or gorgeous ladies
Was it
of
gorgeous?
wrestling.
I think it's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
It's one or the other. I can't remember. And it's based off it's a comedy series, but it's based off a real wrestling event, like TV show that was made in I think the 80s. Yeah,
It was about
yeah,
the 80s. Judging by the hair
Yeah.
and the high waist.
And then it was just like
bikinis,
WWE, but like obviously not as big.
and it's just with women.
But it's the same, like, storyline, soap opera, acting, wrestling things. And it went for, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. And then a couple of years ago, someone made a documentary about it. And then the people who made Orange is the New Black, or some of the people who made that, saw that documentary and thought that'd make a good comedy show. And so it's kind of based on... But I don't know, it's all... Like,
It's loosely based. Like, there's a lot of the characters that kind of represented. There's like my favourite, which is what's her name, Machu
Picchu.
Oh.
Picchu. She's my favourite. I love her.
She's excellent.
She was amazing. And the character, like the lady she's based on, is such a badass. And she's such a darling.
Yeah, I'm gonna once we get to the end of the series, I'm gonna check out the documentary just to find out more. But as a comedy series,
Get ready for feels.
It's very excellent. We started watching it and thought this might be alright, and we watched it. We're like, okay, well we've got to watch at least a few more episodes now. And then we're like, why is there only 10? We were like, okay, we've got to stop now and watch them tomorrow because otherwise we're going to burn through it in a day. But
The dangers of Netflix.
definitely recommend it. It's very, very funny.
No, it's good. It's very cool.
That was my 2 quick recommendations, and that's me done for the week.
Okay, cool.
Who have we got left?
It's me.
It's just Wib. So thank you for joining us at I'm joking. What have you been up to, Wiblet?
Well, first one to mention, just a quick thing, is obviously we did Dawn of War 3
We did.
this week.
Yeah, I watched that.
Yeah.
With Gabby Boy and his weird head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I obviously have talked about it on the podcast before, and sort of thing still stands that, it's not the worst game in the world, but it is the worst mainline Dawn of War.
I think my work.
Okay, it's worse than it's the worst of the 3 then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the worst part about it is that there are certain bits that they do so well.
They totally understand orcs.
They really do get orcs, but like the little animations, like if what's his name? The war boss. Gorguts. Yeah, Gorguts. Because he's got a metal gob, and occasionally on his idle animation, it'll just kind of like one of the hinges will pop off, and he'll just smack it back into place. Little things like that. It's like that's a real nice little attention to detail.
Apparently, so I read an article about it, the animation of orcs in the game is based largely on bulldogs.
Oh, beautiful!
Okay, yeah,
that's really clever.
Because that was sort of how they got the combination of like strength, squat, and swagger.
Suddenly, all the knobs are dragging their asses across the concrete.
Would that surprise you?
No. That would actively add to my experience.
But the thing is, like, they've got these, like, especially with the orcs, I think they're the ones that have like the best treatment, like model-wise. But you can't zoom in as far as you could on either of the games, so you don't get to appreciate how good the models are a lot of the time. And like the animations, whilst really good, they don't have any of like the sync kills or anything from the first game, and they also.
It was nice zooming in and watching one of your guys just pelt someone like 30 feet across. Like that kind of shit was awesome.
And it's just like. It's not as good from an RTS perspective as Dawn of War 1, and it's not as good as that kind of weird strategy hero thing that Dawn of War 2 was.
You're avoiding saying the word MOBA.
Well, no, because it wasn't a MOBA.
No.
Like,
It was like that kind of... No, obviously not a MOBA, but it's MOBA-esque.
Oh, well, the thing is, like, people always accuse Dawn of War 3 of being like a MOBA, and specifically, usually what they're talking about is the Power Core mode, which, when it launched, was the only multiplayer mode, and is one of the worst things that has ever been made in general.
In general? Wow. That's
terrible.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I mean,
are we talking like more than, I don't know, say, Heavy Rain? Not Heavy Rain, that's fine. Like fucking Beyond Two Souls.
Beyond Two Souls is at least, like, entertainingly bad.
Okay, what about, is it worse than David Cage?
Maybe.
David Cage is exactly as bad as Dawn of War 3 is.
Hyperbole aside, like, the Power Core mode is based on a kind of MOBA idea, and that was like the original multiplayer thing, and it was supposed to be really kind of quick. But all it really is just this kind of quick mess where the AI, if you're playing with AI, the AI is fucking stupid anyway.
You never played a MOBA before, have you?
Yeah, no,
but pretty realistic representation.
But the thing is, like, it's just so like out of place inside a proper RTS. Like, it just doesn't work, and it's just so tedious. And when it was launched, that was the only multiplayer mode. It was the only one you could play a skirmish in, so you either had that or you had nothing. Also, and this is a minor point, you can't put custom decals in, so you can make your chapter or whatever, but you can only use pre-existing chapter iconography.
You can use
for them.
orc logos on them as well.
Well, yeah, you can put orc logos on your Space Marines, but, you know, personally, there's a tiny part of me that dies inside when I do that.
Black Templorcs.
Okay, actually,
like a custom army.
Actually, that would be
Daka Daka.
Yeah, that would actually be a pretty good way to use the orcs and give them Space Marine logos and do that kind of thing. That would, okay, I'll buy into that. That's a good one, but
thank you.
But yeah, as I say, I think Dawn of War's problem is just it's the worst entry in a very good series. If it was the first Dawn of War game you played, I think you'd be like, that's all right.
Sorry, it just reminds me because we opened that video by joking and going, this, I guess, you might have noticed we kind of like 40k, and this this is the first 40k game we've played, Dawn of War 3, and someone what was it? They got angry at you on Twitter. I was like, oh yeah.
No, they left a comment.
They left an angry comment, which was like, oh yeah. So like, it's the first game you played, you start the worst one. It's like, oh honey. Oh, you're new.
Do you even?
You should probably look into the recommended bar down the side where you'll see where it will be linking the 20 other episodes of Snipe and Wib Play where we play a 40k game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the amount of times I get comments like, could you please cover this and that event? And I've literally covered it 3 weeks ago. And I was like, what do you want me to do? I literally just covered X, Y, and Z, and the worst one's someone leaves a comment says, please do this. It's coming at the end of the series, it's going to be here, don't worry, look forward to it. And then they leave another one the week after asking for it again. I already told you, it's coming in a bit, be sodded patient.
Yeah. You see, we actually found something that has actually seemingly worked when people keep asking the same thing. Because people kept asking us to play the Ultimate Apocalypse mod for Soulstorm.
Yeah.
And we started saying, every time you ask us about that, we add 3 months to how long it's going to take before we address it.
Like me saying Alexis' intro.
Yeah. Over time, it's got to a point where no one's asking us about it anymore.
So we'll see you in 2027, motherfuckers.
Yeah. I can't speak as much as Dawn of War 3 gameplay-wise because I've played Dark Crusade and that's literally it.
Well, that's the best one, so that's a good place.
Yeah.
Yes, I agreed. But I looked into the story of Dawn of War 3 because I was researching the Blood Ravens and I just wanted to get my head around the absolute shenanigans that go on in Dawn of War 1 through 3.
Oh, yeah.
And the nonsense the Blood Ravens get away with, it's insane.
They're cheeky boys.
Yeah, seriously, they should have all been Exterminatus about 10 times by the end of the series.
Totally.
But anyway.
Yeah. They keep stealing the firing pins because they're very shiny.
Yeah, but Dawn of War 3, from a story perspective, it's... at what point... I'm not going to spoil the end... I don't want to spoil the end of the game. Whatever. Toward the end, some really weird alliances start getting drawn up, and it's just like, you what, mate? And then at the very... I don't know if it's the very, very end of the game, but pretty much at the end, despite the fact that in which one? Soulstorm. Yeah, in Soulstorm, the Blood Ravens lost half their chapter to Boreal's incompetence.
And didn't they lose half of it again in Dawn of War 2 because half of them went traitor?
And then, yeah, a large amount went traitor, and one of their main recruiting systems got exterminatus in Dawn of War 2. And in Dawn of War 3, they threw away an entire ship by throwing it at a planet. No, I'm not joking.
Oh, it's fine.
Basically, they don't seem very responsible, all in all.
Not really.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like, it's not even like Abaddon who threw his, like, broken Blackstone fortress at Cadia, because it was broken. And it actually did, and while both succeeded, Abaddon's Blackstone fortress was broken. It seemed like the ship that you threw at, what was its name? Another planet named after something hell-based. They've been on Tartarus and stuff. Are these Acheron? Whatever the name of the planet is. And it's just like, why, Angelos? Why? Also,
because it was cool. Okay.
And also, you caused this in Dawn of War 1, I think. No, the end of Dawn of War 2 is a direct consequence of what happens in Dawn of War 1. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's just like, for God's sake, Gabriel Angelos.
But he's the best commander with his incredibly high forehead.
No, he's
and
not.
Leaping 20 feet in the air in
He
Terminator
can front
armor.
flip in Terminator armor. Like, fuck off.
Oh, no. It's Terminator armor can jump really high. That's why it can move 1 inch less.
Yeah, but it can move 10 inches vertically.
Yes, that's where the extra inch goes.
10 inches vertically is all anyone ever wants, really.
Oh, for God's sake.
I'll write that down for potential names for this episode.
Just be glad you don't have an animator who would actually put that shit into a video.
Oh, we need to get ourselves one.
Yeah, no.
We didn't even ask for the animator we got. He just started doing it off his own back, and to which we are eternally grateful. But Adeptus Animaticus is fantastic.
No, I've seen that stuff. It's pretty rad.
We were quite happy because we ended up in one, so it was like, yay!
You're ended up in 2, actually.
Oh, really?
that's
It
even
was only
better.
actually linked to the first one. I'll have to find the other one, yeah.
You're more in the first one, which is Gazgul Sad.
Yes.
Yes.
But definitely you get mentioned. You pop up again, I think, in the episode after, though I cannot remember in what exactly context it was.
Okay, I'll have to go check that out.
I'm just glad that my Gazgul impersonation made it up in there. So proud.
Yeah, sometimes we do come up with stuff that I swear we only say it just to get it animated.
That's half the fun of a podcast, though, I reckon. That's the thing. Like, I think half the stuff I say is just so I can make Wib try and figure out how to censor it for the title.
Yeah. The titles of this podcast started off normal and just got worse and worse
They
over
did.
time.
They got worse and worse.
Much like the podcast.
Yeah, there's a reason we don't subtitle any of our episodes.
It's great. You get all the clickbaity views. It's fantastic.
It's probably because there's 3 of us who actually host it, and so we always bounce around who hosts. So you'd sort of tell who's hosting just by the title. Like mine would be kind of straight down the middle, and then Remlays and Alexis is like, I don't even know what they use as their subtitles.
Oh god.
Probably Remlays would be quite straight and narrow because like that's what his channel sort of projects 90% of the time. But
I love that
Yeah.
because like his Twitter is the opposite. Because like I literally complained about being awake the other day, and he just threatened me with Battenberg, and it's like, this motherfucker.
yeah, Remlays and Zoran are just like mad on Twitter.
That beautiful sights to behold, honestly. As long as it doesn't involve Battenberg. God damn.
Anyway, Dawn of War 3.
Dawn of War 3.
It kind of bad, but not as bad as people make out.
The
But
AI
it's
is
also
really
worse than
bad.
the other games, so...
The Imperial Knight's fun.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
There we go, that's it. It's
Yeah.
pretty
Well,
bad.
I wasn't going to dwell on it too much, because we've already talked about it in previous podcasts, so...
Yeah.
What else? Oh yeah, I've been playing shit tons of the Mad Max game that came out a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah. We're all about the latest
yeah.
games here at Snipe and
Oh,
Play.
yeah. Well, no one expects anything new from us.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
We spoke about new news today.
We've lowered their expectations to a point that they can deal with whatever nonsense like that we throw out. But yeah, played Mad Max. We did it for a video a couple of weeks back.
It's so awesome that they actually have an Australian guy.
Yeah, apparently they originally had an American, and then people went, "That's fucking terrible," so they went, "Yeah, you're right," and changed it.
That makes me happy.
Like casting Matt Damon in a movie about the Great Wall of China. Ding.
Oof, yeah, that's a bad one. But yeah, no, Mad Max is... at the time, it kind of got a bit of a reputation for being kind of mediocre.
Mediocre!
Good call, good call.
Sorry, I had to.
Yeah.
And I get that, because it is, at the end of the day, just a very literal sandbox.
Well,
And-
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
the movies are as well.
And it's like full of grind, and it takes ages to do anything, but I don't know, it's like...
I think like part of that though is that when it came out that there were a lot of games at that point that were just doing that.
Absolutely, yeah. I think
So-
it came out in a glut
In the
of
fad.
open world games. So yeah, I think it sort of... It didn't do itself any favours in that regard, but sort of playing it fresh from that... Like, I actually really appreciate what it's doing, and yeah, it is grindy, but it kind of fits narratively with this kind of lone wanderer going about just fixing little problems anyway. And the fact that I kind of like games where you're just slowly making little bars tick up and making percentages tick up, like, I kind of find that quite therapeutic. And also the fact that the main kind of conceit of the game is just making your, like, big-ass fucking car look more and more ridiculous and more powerful.
That,
Putting-
and I can assume a massive pull for you was the fact that the main character having an actual genuine Australian accent made you very happy because that's your favourite accent in the whole world, isn't it? You love people. Be very careful. With what
It's
you're
all right. I have a tolerance to it.
A tolerance, you say? Right. Okay.
It's okay. That's not the point though, because you're not from Australia. You're from Birmingham, right?
Oh, Matt.
Or New Zealand?
Honey.
Was it New Zealand?
God damn it. Sorry.
But
carry
still,
on.
yeah, no. The general, the central kind of conceit of getting your car, the magnum opus, as it's called.
No, it's shovel face.
Well, no, that's the body it's got.
That's my body I've got.
Your body is shovel face.
Yeah, I'm always digging sand with my body.
Why is your body a face?
I'm sorry, are you body shaming me, Matthew?
I think I'm face shaming.
I don't know how you haven't realised this yet. What she does is she'll commit to something that doesn't make any sense, and the more you question how it doesn't make sense, the more she digs her heels in.
Why are you cheat sheeting me? You are literally giving people a speed run on how to deal with my bullshit. I'm not appreciative of that.
Because I feel I've learned this the hard way, and it's my like really I need to pass it on to future generations. You know? That's the point of
By
gaining
passing
knowledge.
it on to our current generation
Well, you know.
first, apparently.
Oh God, the idea of future generations listening to this podcast. What are you doing with your lives?
Maybe
Yeah.
as a horrifying warning.
If it's like 2040 and you find yourself listening to this podcast, just get your life in order, mate. Just fucking sort it out.
Go back to your weird Mad Max Fallout.
Go back to the literal Mad Max world you live in.
Yeah, it's going to be really weird when like I'm only 21 and I've been doing this since I was 17, 18. And it's going to be weird when I'm like 40 or something. If either I'm going to still be doing this, which is kind of terrifying, or I'm going to be looking back on doing this, and I don't know which scares me more.
Oh, God.
Never have any. You just don't have regrets about YouTube. You just got to deal with it. Make every day as it comes.
Yeah, it's-
You deal with the choices that you've made.
I mean, to be fair, we've had, like, Wib's younger brothers. Like, I remember, like, when they weren't that much older. Like I think, like, because your oldest brother's, he's, like, 18 now.
Yes.
And we did a video on Bulletstorm, and there was a part in that where you get to control, like, this big lizard. And because that is just juvenile swearing and it just fucking about. It's really fun in a kind of, like, stupid way.
Yeah.
And the main character refers to this big lizard thing as Waggleton P. Tallylicker. And I remember Wib's brother, who was now 18, I think he was about 14 at the time, and they weren't allowed to watch our videos, which is fine, because we say the naughty words.
Probably sensible.
Probably sensible, yeah. It's in, like, very important to their development that they don't watch our videos. And I was, what was it, like, your brother, who was like 14 at that time, like, he turns around to me one day, like, we're talking and just, you know, carrying on and being silly, and then it kind of goes quiet and he goes, R.I.P. Tallylicker. And I'm like, oh no. It's like this really good. It was R.I.P. Waggleton, and I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I've actually just run into a similar sort of situation. The youngest son of a friend of my grandparents, and sort of like a close family friend, has recently got into Warhammer.
Oh no.
And they actually went. Grandma and Granddad came to Mum to tell me, can I give them my channel name so that they can pass it on to this kid who I think I have to do my maths. I think he's about 14, and my grandma and granddad do not swear at all. And it's a case of you pretty much like people have a go at me sometimes for catching my tongue and not swearing, but you really have to around them. Like seriously, honest to God. So I'm like, when I passed the link on the name to my mom, I said, you can tell Grandma and Granddad that as long as they don't watch the podcast, it's completely family friendly.
That poor child.
I don't. It's not for the kids' sake. I don't know what.
It's just everyone involved.
It's just like I just in clean conscience, I can if Grandma and Granddad do pass this on, and then the kid comes back and starts swearing his arse off because he's been watching Alexis and Renways on the podcast, and me also swearing our asses off. It's just like, I told them not to watch the podcast because it doesn't because it swears. I warned you.
God, it was like I was getting my makeup done for mother-in-law's wedding, and the lady doing my makeup was super nice, and she was talking about like, oh, so what do you? I was like, well, I didn't say it too loud. I mean, I do videos on YouTube, and I'm an artist, and she's like, oh, okay, what kind of videos do you do? And I was like, gaming kind of.
Yeah, this is the most awkward question you can ever get asked in our line of work.
It really fucking is. Like, oh wow, that's really cool. So what? Like I explained that like we play video games and we do reviews and we talk about 40k. And she was like, oh my daughter would love you. You've got crazy coloured hair. You've got piercings and you do things on YouTube. Like, what's the link to your YouTube? And I was like, how old's your daughter? And she went, oh, she's 12. I was like, I ain't linking. I was like, definitely not family friendly. I was like, wait until she's 18, and then even then.
Yeah, I completely understand. I think I've only been clocked as a YouTuber in Games Workshop like twice. Like I've gone into a store and without having to mention my channel, people have known who I am.
Dude, that sounds terrifying, dude.
Yeah, thankfully it's not happening. Like I'm coming up to 15,000 subscribers. I'm borderline like mainstream in the 40k community at this point. I say borderline because whatever. But so there's going to come a point where I'm either going to go to a random gaming store or I'm going to be passing someone in the street and I'm going to get clocked as Tactica Imperialis, and it's like, how am I going to handle that?
It's a genuinely terrifying thought. It's like, because we live in a big city now, and we're frequenting our Games Workshop, and we're like, if we do get recognised, like, what the fuck are we going to do? I'm probably going to run home screaming and hope they don't follow me.
To be honest, I think the fact that we were in the band for years has sort of like made that not as scary to me, because I'm used to people coming up and saying, oh, hey, you were in this band. I like your stuff, and how to respond to that without sounding like a mutant.
Okay, that's fine for me, provided we were at a gig.
Yeah.
So if I'm just out shopping or I'm on my way back from the gym and someone runs over and goes, "You're Snipe, say a swear word," or like complain about fucking
that is what you're most famous for.
Yeah. Like, tell me that you hate the Tau, and I'll be like, please leave me alone.
Yeah, like, there's a time and place to get clocked. Like, if you get clocked in like a Games Workshop, if you're a Warhammer YouTuber, or at a gig if you're a musician, that's one thing. But
if you're at Greg's after really getting a Greg,
yeah.
It's gonna be a bit weird.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot weird.
First world problems, I guess.
Absolute first world problems.
But
yeah, Mad Max, I guess.
Yeah, Mad Max. Good game. I also watched Fury Road, which is a good movie.
I need to watch that.
Because I never got around to watching it, and I thought, since I've been playing...
Does Tom Hardy put on an Australian accent?
Not really.
Tom Hardy has a Tom Hardy accent.
But he has about 8 lines in the whole movie, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
He does have a metal gob, I noticed, as well.
Yeah, you kind of need to watch the movie to see the context of that. It's
I
fantastic.
don't need context, it's phenomenal. But I'll watch it anyway.
Yeah.
It is the movie of my people.
So yeah, Fury Road, really good. No one needs me to tell them that. It's a genuinely good movie. A lot of fun. 2-hour-long car chase, basically.
Yeah,
That sounds pretty good.
Only other thing I want to talk about is a very brief thing. Just to bring it up to kind of close off what I've been talking about over many weeks, which is that Star Trek Discovery has ended.
Oh, nice.
Oh yes, I've been following your Twitter reviews of that.
What do you mean tirades?
Yeah.
I think officially they come under the term diatribe.
If it had gone on any longer, you would have locked yourself away in a cabin in the middle of nowhere and written a manifesto.
I basically am going to do that. I was going to watch.
That wasn't a fucking suggestion.
I was going to watch the series through again and do kind of a breakdown of the whole thing, because I think it's become really interesting. Because the first half of that season was just crap. It had 2 or 3 episodes that were passable, maybe one good episode, and the rest.
So it was a Star Trek season.
That's the thing. Now, you see, the last 3 episodes of Discovery were just entertaining. They were decent. It kind of, once they got past the mirror universe bullshit that was bullshit and I hated it.
Okay.
They sort of, went,
How
okay.
eloquent.
Yeah, they sort of got to a point where they were like, okay, we've sort of done all the stuff that's annoying about the mirror universe, so we've got that out the way the first few episodes, so now we can just tell a story. And then they did that, and so the last few episodes were just entertaining and interesting, and it was like, you know what, this has got problems, but the way they ended it it's got the bones of a good Star Trek show, that if they don't take themselves quite so seriously and try and be a bit more consistent next season, it could actually be decent. And considering that basically every Star Trek series has had a shit first season.
Yeah,
at
so
least.
it's following suit pretty well.
Well, shit's probably an exaggeration, but they've been weak.
Yeah.
TNG being the absolute worst. The first 2 seasons of Next Generation are rough. So, I mean, I don't know whether to say anything about it, but there's a bit right at the end of Discovery that is it's pure fan service, and they do a bit of a redesign of something you've seen previously, and they do a really good job of it, and the little fanboy in me couldn't help but be a little
Oh god.
when I saw it, so
Could you repeat that,
I
please?
would rather not, actually.
Okay, that's fine. Can I have it in writing that you'll never do that again?
Yeah, we'll work out the paperwork afterwards. But yeah, so ultimately, after my months of complaining about Star Trek Discovery, it actually ended in a place where I'm like, you know what, this could actually be something that's worth watching.
Maybe, and I'm just gonna say that maybe that's it, or maybe it's hypothermia.
Oh, I may have Stockholmed myself something fierce.
Yeah, so I'm thinking you've hated it so much that you've come around because you keep subjecting yourself to this and try to convince yourself it's good.
You're saying I built up a tolerance to it being shit?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm saying that's plausible.
That's quite possible. I am just so desperate for more Star Trek. But anyway, yeah, so that's sort of the end of it. I'm probably going to do a video of sort of, acknowledging it and put it on my channel. So the main channel isn't subjected to my tirades any more so than it is on the podcast.
Yeah, just judging by the amount that you seem to have had to say, that could be longer than half the MisanthroPods combined.
Yeah, really.
It's like Star Trek Discovery, episode 1 of 12.
Subsection B. What?
Part A.
Part A. You'll need a written diagram to figure out which
Oh yeah,
part is
there's
next.
to know what. I'll make it really confusing. So the way to know what order to watch the episodes will involve a flow chart.
It's just gonna be like Star Wars movies, so you start at the third one.
But yeah, so I guess after all that, we should probably go to those questions what we get sent in.
Ah, yes. Questions.
Oh, these are always fun.
I'm sure there'll be 1 or 2 about 40k. There usually is.
There is at least 1 or 2 about 40k.
Yes.
Okay.
And remember, people at home, if you wish to send us a question, send it to the email of onlydrummermattatsnipeandwib@gmail.com.
Every time I hear it, I get slightly more embarrassed about how bad that is. It was so funny at the time.
I mean, we could just change it, but
No.
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 You see, this is why we just trust our comment sections to do our Q&As.
Why would you trust a YouTube comment section in any context?
Good point.
Plus, I don't have access to the. I'm not trusted with the YouTube channel, so I'm not trusted with going anywhere
You've
near.
never asked for access. Do you want access?
In defence of about half the 40k community's comment sections, generally they are well behaved and only meme slightly and only on topic contextual memeing. So I can sort of trust our comments to behave enough. Certain people in comment sections I wouldn't trust to throw anything, but you know.
Well, yes. It's generally the 40k comment sections are fine, provided you don't mind memes about text-to-speech, and you never ever mention female space marines.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
usually.
wondering whether to mention that or not.
Yeah, well, to be fair, someone out there has just gone, I sense a disturbance in
The
YouTube,
internet.
I guess. I'm going to go and threaten to stab somebody or whatever.
Oh,
There's
no,
always
they-
that one fucking person.
They do that on the Rogue Trader video where we mention the little sisters. That tanks all those comments for us. It's fine.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to ignore those people
Yeah, I just
because
ignore-
they're kind of like they sit there foaming at the mouth.
I just ignore the comment section of that these days.
It's
It's
probably the
still
best.
going on.
Yeah, there is literally only one place, and I don't even know if I want to go to that place, where I'll ever bring the topic up, and it will not be on a video of my own, because, quite frankly, I don't want to burn.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's just too much vitriol.
But anyway, questions.
Questions. So, as per usual, they're like ordered in no particular order. It's just the order they came in. So,
Okay.
you know, I could do a job of collating them or whatever, but nah. That would suggest I did
That's
it
fair.
more. Actually, to be fair, I checked these yesterday and not this morning. So,
Oh wow,
I did good.
So have you missed extra emails that may be sent today?
maybe, but they'll get covered next time. It's fine. So,
That's fine.
First up, Powie emailed us to say that first of all they approve of the mullet because they asked for a mullet photo.
Yes.
And they approve of the mullet and they approve of the longer podcast format, which is good because they're
cool.
getting it. So
Yeah.
Yep.
you better prepare your ear holes because we're going to cram our noises in
They're
there.
probably not going to be quite as long as that normally, because they take so fucking long to edit
To be
together.
fair, this one is rather long.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
this
one's quite
yeah.
long.
Their question was, what do all of you recommend for someone who wants to be more involved in a mostly internet-based community?
Draw pornography. Don't listen to me. That was a joke.
No.
Well,
There's a Snipe and Wib Discord, I believe.
yeah, it depends on like what you sort of mean by get involved, because obviously you can join people's discords, like as mentioned, and get people involved in like live stream chats and things like that to interact with other people.
Yep.
The other option, if you are wanting to sort of properly throw yourself in at the deep end, is if you get involved as a YouTuber like we have done. The best thing you can do is just bug people, well, not bug people, but just getting involved in people's comment sections and reaching out to them is a good way to get, well, at least people knowing what your name is,
Yeah.
and then if you put good content out, we might actually pay attention
Or
to you.
at people passive-aggressively on Twitter. That works.
Yeah, Twitter is actually probably the best place to bug you bigger YouTubers. It's probably...
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like it comes to the point where I can go on Twitter and Remlace and I can bug Guy Haley about plot spoilers of the devastation of Baal, and we actually did that.
Nice. That's the joys of Twitter. You can bug all these people who you consider usually untouchable.
True. I mean, I think that is a good thing. Yeah, I guess the best way to get involved in a community, if you're talking,
I guess look for like Michael says, like live stream chats or discords and stuff like that.
Yeah,
just,
I mean, ultimately-
just speak up and say hi.
Yeah, I mean, it depends really on the type of community you're doing, because like if it's say like it was the community around a mod, like for a game, then
Hang out on the forums.
you'd hang out on the forums and maybe try and put yourself forward to help them out with something.
Yeah.
Like if you're an artist, you could do art for the mod, or if you're a programmer, you could help. That I guess that's the sort of thing.
Yeah, just start by just getting involved in conversations, or trying to get to know people.
You just got to put yourself out there, really.
Yeah, which is scary, but I believe in you and you can do it.
Yes, coming as 40k is probably one of the most introvert extrovert polarizing communities. Like you have the people who are like super out there, and then everybody else who's probably never left their parents' basement. I'm dramatizing, but you know what I mean. Like, it is kind of hard to just take the first step, but once you've actually done it, like once you've made that first video or you've started that first thread or whatever, it flows really easily.
Yeah, and every time you do it, it'll get easier.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And eventually you end up just putting things online which are just you spouting opinions for hours. And apparently, and you sit there and you go, at what point did I apparently have this much self-importance? And you go, well, I guess I'm doing it now, I can't stop.
I actually made a dedicated series just for me to do that because I can't talk at a long enough length on Adeptus Podcasters. I made my thoughts on so I can talk at length about things like Primaris Space Marines and Daughters of Cain.
Yeah.
So just do it.
Really, yeah. Great.
So put yourself out there. Whatever it is, that's the thing. All you can really do is start talking to the people involved in it, and try and get involved. That's
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Leon. He sent us pictures of dogs, but I haven't emailed them to myself, so I can give them to you. So I can't show you them. I'll show you them later.
Well, show us.
They're adorable
after.
dogs.
Yeah,
I don't know whether they're his or not, but they are cute
I don't
dogs.
even need to see them. I know they're good dogs already. So
and it will do until we get our PO box.
yes.
Their question is: Are you ever going to do another community live stream?
Community live. I think they mean community game night.
Well, maybe
because we can't do community. Well, no.
Yeah, we can now that we've moved.
Oh yeah.
Because our internet connection isn't garbage anymore.
Yeah, we'll probably try and get something like I don't know, we get Jackbox and play with the fans or something.
Yeah, we've
been meaning to do that for a while.
We I think we've mentioned this before. Like the thing is, we basically anytime someone says, "Are you going to do X again?" or "Are you going to do this thing that you said you were going to do?"
We haven't forgotten, and we're going to do it. There's no need to remind us every 6 months.
Snipe says, "Fuck off."
No, that's not what I said. It was way more polite than that.
No.
We appreciate your interest, and we're sorry it's taking us so long, but we are garbage people. So that's our excuse.
And it takes us a while to get around to certain things, or just to find the time to arrange certain things. That's generally the thing. If it's something that involves only getting ourselves organised, then that stuff gets done. Whereas if it involves
organising a bunch of other people.
Yeah, organising outside things, then it becomes something that's a bit more, daunting and easy to put off.
And anxiety isn't fun.
That too.
Yeah, I mean, I was supposed to be on the MisanthroPod 3 or 4 months ago, which should tell you everything you need to know about how hard it is to organise everything.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah.
Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have said.
It's fine, everyone knows how incompetent we are. Next up, we've got 40k question.
Ooh.
So, Dat Fox asked Wib, but I assume this can be open. It's a particularly good time to ask this question now. They've recently gotten around to reading 40k novels. In the last month, they've read a few. Angels of Caliban, Ruinstorm, and Rin's World. They just started on the Eye of Ezekiel. Any recommendations from yourself?
To be perfectly honest, I'm not the most widely read when it comes to the Black Library. I've read a lot of the Horus Heresy books, but as I recently found out, nowhere near even half of them, because there's 40 other fucking things.
There's tons of them at this point.
And I legitimately, if you don't want 40k books to be what you're reading all the time, it's basically impossible to keep up with all of them. So
yeah, as for me, actually, I recognise that name from my comment section, but in terms of books I've read, the Macarius series is very good. The Priest of Mars series by, I think, is it Graham McNeil? Yeah, that's really good. I've read miscellaneous ones from Space Marine Battles. The Devastation of Baal, which is the first of the Space Marine Conquest series, that's really good and brings you into the modern era if you want to read that sort of stuff. You can't really go wrong with the Horus Heresy. It just takes it's more time consuming than Fallout.
Yeah.
yeah,
just avoid Goto and you'll be fine.
That's some good advice.
I will say that even in the Heresy series, there are given the way that it's structured, there's quite a lot that you can read in weird orders and things, and it won't really affect.
Yeah, you don't have to. Yeah, if you're going to read them, I recommend if you're going to read from the start, read Horus Rising, False Gods, Galaxy in Flames, Flight of the Eisenstein, and Fulgrim in that order.
Yeah, absolutely.
But other than that, anything goes pretty much. They're scattered all over the bloody place.
I mean, I'm currently reading Descent of Angels, and I'm not entirely certain that I would recommend anyone read that one.
Yeah, Remley's actually gave up on that one, I think. That's about the one book Remley's gave up on.
Well, I mean, it's interesting in that it has, I'm like a third of the way through it, and it's still all set around one particular person's life before the Emperor comes to Caliban. And it's like, that's interesting. Why is this part of the Horus Heresy series? Because this has currently got nothing to do with it. I mean, maybe the second half of the book suddenly makes all this context worthwhile, but yeah, currently it's a bit dull.
Yeah, I mean, they do that with the Lorgar novel. That has a bit of time before the Emperor turns up. But that's not in the Horus Heresy series. That's literally the books about the Primarchs. You can get away with it.
Yeah, the Primarch books are like explicitly stuff before the Heresy, so...
Yeah, they are mainly Great Crusade era, as far as I'm aware.
Wow, that was a very aggressive bike.
Yeah.
It really was.
Mad Max is going on in the French streets.
Oh no, that bike really loves Descent of Angels and it's really pissed off.
Probably a Raven Wing in disguise.
It gives context for Cypher, fuck you!
That's what it said in bike.
Yes.
When did you
And now we've made a joke about it. That's the one time a bike's gone past and I'm not going to edit it out now. I've now got to leave it in. It's going to bother me.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, what Michael said, basically.
Fair enough. I think that's a good list of recommendations. Next up, two more people. The last... I've got it written here as The Last Naudos, but I don't know if that's just me typoing from The Last Nando's.
That's The Last Nodos. I remember them.
Okay, not The Last Nando's. I was looking at it, I was like, have I typed an O instead of an N?
You disrespectful fucker.
I'm very sorry.
The Last Nando's.
I like The Last Nando's does sound awfully like Mad Max. Like, that's the quest. Get to the
I didn't
Last
mean
Nando's.
that. I meant that in the nicest. I just assumed. I just thought there was a chance of me being an idiot and typing the wrong thing.
I was waiting for you to go, well, it's okay, because I like Nando's.
Yeah, I didn't mean that. Sorry if I've offended you. Anyway,
Last Nando's.
So they've got a couple of questions. First up, their favourite type or genre of game in general to help you unwind. And before you answer, their prediction is Wib, you're going to say Factorio, and Snipe, you're going to say Banished.
Damn it.
But they wanted to know
Fuck
for
you,
sure.
Last Nando's. You're so cheeky.
Yeah.
And I guess, Michael, the question is open to you as well.
I haven't touched a video game in about 3 years.
You sound like me.
Well, this podcast that's technically about video games is probably a mistake then.
Seriously, my brother took our... we don't even have a PS4. He took our PS3 to uni with him, and I haven't seen it since. And it's now the middle of third year.
Yeah.
What about you, Drumblebutt?
Me, I play games not often enough, so when I do, I'm not doing that to relax. I don't know, if I'm thinking of relaxing, I'll play a guitar or I'll do... I don't know. I don't play games when I want to wind down or relax. That's just, I do them when I want to
Engage.
enjoy the game.
I get you.
Or engage with the game, if that makes sense. So I
That's
honestly
fair
don't
enough.
really have much of an answer for that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it changes. It depends on what sort of thing I'm feeling at the time, but they generally settle into the sort of thing of something that I cannot have to pay like a super amount of attention at and can just sort of plug away at. So something like for recently, yeah, Mad Max has been what I've been doing with that because I can just roam around and do stuff. But sometimes, yeah, it's something like Factorio or something like that, like say a Minecraft with a Tekkit mod.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff I can just kind of just chip away at and gradually get somewhere at. I think those are the sort of games. Even Deathwatch sort of filled that niche for a while where I was just grinding out currency to buy things and slowly beat the game. Like, I don't know, it changes and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of stopped playing Banished recently, and I've played a little bit more Honeycam Studio. I'm not proud of it, but I mean, it's like a clicker game, and yeah, there's a lot of parts of that game that are kind of gross, but whatever.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could never get... Because I've heard you guys mention in the past that you're like listening to a podcast while playing something, but if I try and do that, I'll realise, like, after 20 minutes or something, that I've not heard a single word from the podcast. And I'll have to pause it, and I'll have to pause the game and go back and work out where I was up to. And I can't focus on anything else if I'm doing it.
I've started having the opposite problem, because like I've started listening to podcasts at the gym, which is a fatal fucking thing to do. Don't ever do that, because you'll literally be there lifting weights, and someone will say something so fucking stupid and funny that you'll just fucking lose your shit and start laughing, and everyone in the gym will turn around and look at you, not only just slamming fucking 50 pounds of weights, like just dropping it free, and then just start laughing. Everyone will be like, "The fuck is wrong with her?" Oh my god.
Yeah, I've run into something similar, because I have basically given up ever trying to hobby whilst ever doing anything, because the last time I tried to hobby whilst recording a podcast, I glued my Tau Commander's legs on backwards.
Oh, mate.
I did it. I was building it, and I got to everything went together absolutely fine, and then I got to the his fucking legs are all backwards. And I was like, oh my, how have I done this?
He's I don't know, back leg the meanderer.
No, it was bloody Chateau Aracon. It was one of the 8. I completely.
Oh no!
I was like one of my centerpiece models, and I glued his legs on backwards. I was like, right, I can't hobby doing the podcast ever again.
Oh god.
To be
You
fair,
just need that one big mistake.
To be fair, I don't think I could do that either. Like I'm a fidgeter when doing like podcasts or playing D&D. Anything that I'm kind of sitting there and not necessarily doing something with my hands.
That's why we got you a fidget cube.
I have a plectrum in front of me that is currently broken into like 8 pieces, because I've just been sat bending it, and it's just snapped. And then I've used a smaller part and sat bending that, and now that's snapped. So I have like plectrum dust in front of us.
I don't get that fidgety thing. I can literally just sit there with my arms at my side, just staring off into the middle distance.
Oh no! If I didn't have like plectrum or something, I'd be sat tapping the microphone, which obviously doesn't.
Well, I've been sitting here the entire time with the little dongles on my tracksuit bottoms.
Okay, watch out now. Oh, okay.
With the are they called aglet?
Little dongles.
Hey.
I've been sitting here playing with my little dongle.
But are they called
Right.
are they called aglets?
Those are aglets,
Because I know they are if they're on shoelaces. A little smooth
Those are
parts on the-
shoelaces. Those are really cheap
Well,
trousers.
yeah, I know they're cheap trousers, but I just want to point out they're not like I've got a pair of shoelaces and wrapped around my waist like I'm
As
fucking
a
Wurzel
belt.
Gummidge. Like,
Well, that's a reference.
No,
It's
he's got
yeah.
a piece of rope. That's what he uses
it's
for
a
that.
cheap pair of tracksuit bottoms that the thing in them was probably just repurposed shoelace. Yes,
Probably.
but I've just been messing around with those the entire time, just messing with my hands because
Dirty
my fidget
bastard.
cube is more than 2 feet
Okay,
away.
I will pass you your fidget cube. Don't
the
fiddle
fidget
around
cube.
with your aglet and your fidget cube.
So you were with me in that we're in this bizarre state of you can't multitask on things, and yet if you just do one thing, you have to also do another thing at the same time.
Yeah, I am permanently attached to a pair of headphones. I cannot not have headphones in while I work. The problem is, if I put a YouTube video on, I'm completely distracted by that, so I can't work. So I have to put music on, but then I get bored with what I'm listening to and have to go find a new track, and I'm distracted again. Like, you have to wonder how I managed to make 30 minutes of script every week. It's just a bit crazy.
I have no
Miraculous.
earthly idea how you do that. I've set myself a month to write 5 minutes of script, and I'm still not sure I'll manage to make that.
You need to get good.
I do.
Stop fiddling
I do.
with that aglet of yours and get work.
I think it's just because I'm always doing it. It's like I'm always just chipping away at something that I'm in a room that is literally about a 15 by 8 box, and I have no friends in this country, so it's just like I might as well just do a video.
I get that. I guess at least turn it into something productive. So
Aye.
The next question. This is another 40k one. You'll be pleased to hear. Do you have a favourite Imperial Guard regiment?
Catachan.
the army of the Rambos.
Yeah, they're amazing. I gotta agree.
I'm trying to think actually. What they're called?
Screeny boys.
This is one of those ones where I've never actually said it out loud, or I don't think I've heard anyone say it out loud, so I always get confused. But it's the crazy steampunk Russians.
Valhalla or Vostroya?
Vostroya.
Yeah, the Vostroyan
Yeah,
first
those
one.
ones. Yes, I quite like those, like aesthetically, because furs and vague and
Yeah, they do look
slightly
cool.
steampunky.
They're okay, but I do like Catachans. They scream.
They scream.
They scream.
I've done a series on like regiments of renown, so I've covered Vostroya, Valhalla, Elysia, Catachan, Cadia, and the Catachans just come off as the most like dangerous and powerful of them. Like Elysia is extremely cool because they all drop in out of Valkyries, but just something to be said for Iron Hand Strachan. Like,
yeah, like my answer, my aesthetically like the Cadians. It's just like it's useful that because I've mentioned before I've wanting to get a guard army for ages and just not ever getting round to it. But if I got one, like my favourite would be them, which is nice because it's them and Catachans are the like default cheapo ones, or they always were.
Yes, and it still is. I think Catachan infantry is harder to get than Cadian infantry. Well, maybe, but like in terms of command stuff, it's Catachan Cadia the main two.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, that's convenient because that's my favourite looking ones. So it's like, oh, that'll be relatively cheap, relatively being not at all cheap, but you know.
Yeah, the downside to someone like Cadia is that if you start talking about Creed, you kind of have to walk right into meme territory as soon as you mention the name.
Yeah.
As soon as the name Creed or the name Marbo, you walk straight into Memeville, and it's just like
meme hell.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm surprised no one's mentioned Krieg.
Yeah.
Deathcore of Krieg.
I always forget Krieg because I did them so long ago, but they are.
There is lots of
I
cool
think
ones.
I just kind of forget that they exist because no one can afford a Krieg army. So yeah,
True.
They're like so many people's dream armies.
It's actually a fun thing. There's an old.
I like the weird horses.
Yeah, they're weird
Those
alien
things are
horses.
fucking creepy. They're great.
But there's an old what was it? It was one of the chapter approved like compiled things they did in the early 2000s before Krieg and the Elysians had their own models, and they had like guides of how to convert them from I think it was Cadians and Armageddon Steel Legion, like using green stuff, and it was like sense. It was one of those guides where you look at that and go, that's really easy for you to say. And I'm speaking as someone that actually knows a fair bit about working with green stuff because I've done a lot of custom orc units that were, involved. Like actually,
Orcs is green.
Yes, but like actually rebuilding stuff, like and building sections of body from scratch. So I have a bit more experience than like the average person. I'm looking at that and going, that's a fucking ridiculous thing to ask any human to do. Like the ridiculous people on the internet, yeah, sure, they'll build it from fucking scratch or whatever. Like the crazy people who are like, oh yeah, I'm just going to build a fucking Thunderhawk from plasticard and some plumbing tubing. Like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I get the same thing with the painting stuff. Like, everyone loves Duncan. This is obvious. Everybody loves Duncan. But like, I look at his tutorials, it's like, I'm just never doing that because I don't have the patience for 2 thin coats and to use about 12 paints per surface, nor do I have the precision. It's like, you carry on, Duncan. You inspire the community to greater things. I'll just be here using my paint straight out of the pot.
Yeah. Yep.
You see, I can't say anything because I am basically made of bad painting habits, but I think I put across the impression that I probably don't have them. Because I'm good enough at painting that it looks like I know what I'm doing.
I'm not.
But everything is made of bad habits. Painting out the pot, not changing my water
I paint
enough.
out the pot, I occasionally will accidentally eat paint. You know when you're going straight up your brush by like putting it in your mouth?
Yeah.
I'll sometimes forget to take paint off and I'm like, there.
The worst thing to do that with was the old style washers.
Oh,
Devil and Mud in particular was really
I've done
bad.
that so many times and it tastes like I'm gonna die.
I love Devil and Mud, but fucking hell, it tasted rough.
Oh, yeah, I know. Like GW, fucking fix your shit. Your washers taste awful.
Maybe that's why they did the new range.
My horror story involving paints. My brother got me a shirt for Christmas. Or for my birthday or something. And I was just at painting in my normal position and I dropped my Mithril Silver.
Ooh.
And the Mithril Silver, there's still a stain on the carpet about 5 years later from the Mithril Silver. And that shirt, which I got about 2 weeks prior, had a hole in it and ruined.
That reminds like the first
So,
the last few times, the last like 2 times I've bought washers, I've got back and I've started to use them and I've opened them and then I've always spilled half of them.
I've done that once with no
And then
oil.
everything smells weird and it's horrible.
I did once when I was a kid, and I first played so this would be like 98, 99.
Hundreds of years ago.
I remember dropping my red paint on my carpet that I had from childhood that was an off cream colour.
That is such a your mum thing to do. Like, oh yes, my child is painting. I'll give him the most stainable surface.
It was fine because by that point, that thing was the most threadbare piece of shit carpet in the universe.
Oh, God.
So it was fine.
I think you did everyone a favour. Honestly,
but it was that thing where you're a kid and you do something and you go, "Oh shit."
Shit.
Like when you're an adult, at least you go, okay, look, mistake.
You don't do that shit on purpose. I used to do that all the time. Like my parents was looking after like a refrigerator for somebody, and it had like a goon in it. It had like a box of wine.
Looking after a refrigerator.
Yeah, I don't know. And so I just went
Snipe's
in.
life was terrifying.
Yeah. And because the little wine boxes, you got like the little tap, and and this one had like a screw one, so you moved it. I thought that was great. So what I did was I poured it all over the freezer.
Okay.
I just thought it was fun. Because it's like, I was just like, oh, okay, this is like grown-up juice or whatever.
Yeah, red wine, that notoriously non-staining liquid.
Yeah, no, so it was like, the freezer was very frosty, so I just kind of emptied the whole bag of goon onto the frost, because I was eating the frost afterwards.
Oh.
I was like, this is great. This is fantastic. And my mother went bananas at me. It's like, that's not even our goon! And I'm like, okay, so get more. And she smacked me so hard. I was half drunk at the time, I think.
I don't remember this, but... I don't remember this. There was a story that my mum always says. We used to have either our old house or whatever, the phone used to be underneath, above, mounted on the wall above some cabinet or other. But if me or my brother would climb on that cabinet, the only numbers we could reach were the bottom row.
Okay.
And you know what the emergency number in Britain is?
999.
Guess what happened?
I wonder.
Yeah, so apparently there was a point where we did accidentally ring the police because that's the only numbers we could reach. I don't remember which of us was responsible for it. I think it was my brother, not me, but that might be me deflecting blame.
Yeah, you would say that.
He is and probably still is the arsehole kid of the family. I will never ever not say that, and I think even he will agree with me on that. But seriously, honest to God.
Oh, God.
Anyway, are there any more questions?
Yes, a third one from Nando's. I'm very sorry. Do you have any moments from your time playing D&D that you look back on fondly? And I'm not sure we've been playing long enough in this group to have fond memories of it yet. Like, I mean, we have nice memories.
Okay.
No, but we have nice memories, but it's not something like, the way I read the question, it's like, something that we did years ago that you still remember, whereas, like, I remember most things we've done because we've done them all within the last year. So,
we could open it up to just, like, tabletop RPGs, I guess.
Yeah.
Because we played Call of Cthulhu for a while, like, years and years ago. Even then, I'm still struggling.
Yeah, honestly, I guess because we go out and we talk about all the things we're doing in D&D, like, on the podcast, it's sort of, I don't know, it's all kind of chronicled, so I don't really know what to say. I mean, like, killing a dragon and nearly getting TPK'd nearly.
But not.
That was really cool, and I imagine that's something which I'm going to remember for a while, but that was only...
you storming up to the mayor's house and swinging the dragon's head, like, severed head around by its horns at anyone who would look.
But that's only like a month ago, so it's hard to say. Well, what about you, Matt? Because you obviously have played a lot more D&D than we have.
Well, only a bit. I played it... You say a lot more, like, not much more than you guys, to be honest. I played it for a year or two, every few weeks, before we started this group. But we didn't do it that often. But we did a one-shot where we played as evil pirates, just because we thought it would be fun to do a bit of an evil thing. But you can't really do a whole campaign of playing evil people, because it's kind of like, what's your motivation for any of this? But we had just pre-gen characters, and I think I spoke about them before, but I was playing, it was like a 9th or 10th level sorcerer, which was great fun. And I rolled lowest in the initiative. We were off onto like another boat, and I rolled lowest in the initiative, and there was loads of generic pirates. We had other pirates we had to take out, and everyone else was taking out 1 or 2 at a time. And I jumped on and did something like chain lightning or something, and took out like pretty much most of them because they were all in a very small area, and it was a big AOE spell thing. And just then used the one of the minor cantrips to make a minor illusion or an effect or something to make like smoke blow out my fingers at the end of it.
So you could finger gun.
So I could finger gun and blow the smoke out my fingers. And I was just like, oh yeah,
if the DM didn't give you an inspiration point for that,
no, he did. He did.
Oh, good.
That was a lot of
Good.
fun. I know. I've been looking around because at some point, hopefully, one of you guys will take over DMing for a bit so I can play.
I was going to take
the
over
last
for a bit.
like few months, every few days, thinking of a new character to play as. Comes like, oh, I could try out this class. Oh, I could try out this class, and I have no idea what I'm going to do.
The moment I get a monster manual or like the D&D handbook, I'll DM.
Yeah, actually, we haven't got the Dungeon Master Guide, so...
Yeah.
It's funny you say about, like, I want to try out this class, I want to try out this class. That is literally me with the hobby. It's like, I want to play this army, but I want to play this army, but I want to play this army, but I have no money and no time. And it's like, fuck!
Yeah, the bonus of D&D is that you don't have to buy a whole new army every time you want to change up what you play as.
You occasionally have to buy a whole new book.
I was in Games Workshop the other day filming a battle report, and I was just playing with Stalkers, and I looked over on the shelf and I saw Sylvan, and I was like, oh, they look cool. And I looked over and saw Fires, and I was like, oh my god, they look really cool. And then I got home and the Daughters of Cain were announced, and I was like, holy shit. And I was just like, there are so many things I could do right now to ally with my Stormcast. What do I do? And then the Tau Codex is coming out, and then Drukhari are getting some stuff, and that looks interesting. And then there's too many options.
God, that's the way they get you. The shits.
Yeah.
But would you have it any other way?
Probably not. Well, I mean, I'd probably have them knock off maybe like 10 quid from everything, but that's beside the point.
Oh yeah, I wasn't talking fires. I mean, like the fact that you have infinite options and they're constantly giving you more.
Yeah,
options.
no,
That is the best
it's pretty
thing.
fucking great.
This next question is kind of related to that, and D&D wise, I mean, not the 40k stuff. Dave asked if you've got any thoughts on any of the pre-made settings that Wizards have published down the years. So like Greyhawk, Faerun, Dragonlance, all those sort of settings. And I don't know if you guys will have much opinions really.
I know a bit about them. I think Greyhawk is, if that's the one I'm thinking of, it's a Gygax adventure.
Yeah, that's the original Gygax one.
Yeah, I don't want to play it because I like my character
You will die
alive.
immediately.
Yeah, fuck off. There's, what is it? With Strahd. What's the one with Strahd von Zarevich, or whatever his name is?
Oh. I know literally nothing about any of this.
Yeah, that sounds...
I show up as my dwarf, I hit things with an axe.
You get your axe stuck indoors, and then you leave.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. No, shit, I can't remember what it is. But it's not Planescape. Shit. But yeah, the one with Strahd is pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. I like Strahd as a character. He's the total douche kind of guy, but he's also quite... He's the gentleman vampire enemy kind of guy.
Okay.
So he's kind of like Doctor Doom in a way. Where he's a fancy boy, but he's also evil. I like that. Yeah, Planescape is cool. That's the one with the Lady of Pain.
Yeah, Planescape is the one where it's like the nexus of where all the like gods and things go. And I think you can actually go through Planescape. You can go to all the different realms that have been invented for D&D through there because it
it's a
connects
city
to all
of
them.
doors.
I may be wrong about that, but that's
that's true. It's
yeah.
I think the main city is Sigil.
Yeah, that's
and like the Lady of Pain controls it and controls all of the doors and stuff, and like everything can be a doorway to another plane of existence or whatever, or another module or whatever, another story. So yeah, that's cool. But fuck Greyhawk. I don't want to go to Greyhawk. No, I value my life too much.
I hear a lot of people talk fondly of things like Dragonlance, but I don't know anything about it. So
that's probably the one with Strahd in it. Honestly, I'm like, yeah, it sounds good. Okay.
And I think Strahd is like its own thing. I think the actual book Curse of Strahd, like the actual campaign, is you can kind of, because it's a whole separate thing. You can go to it from anywhere. I think it's like the vague ideas you get there from Forbidden Realms, but I don't think it matters. But I haven't played it. I'm not.
No, I think it is supposed to be quite a hard one, but I like the appeal of the setting. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, I mean the one that we're playing now is kind of, well, it's its own thing, but it's very much based off other ones. But I just thought, but yeah, and then the previous campaign I played was a custom setting as well. So I've never actually played a game in any of the settings. I mean, all of the sort of Baldur's Gate PC games are all set on Sword Coast, Forbidden Realms sort of stuff.
Yeah,
and that's kind of just your almost generic fantasy setting. Without wanting to, I'm not insulting it, but I think it's fairly. You can pretty much do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. I've only ever interacted with the D&D settings on as such a surface kind of level that it's always just been a generic fantasy setting. I've never really, like, the D&D that we've played and the D&D video games that I've played, they've either not gone deep enough into the lore of the thing for me to really know what's going off, or I've not got far enough into the game to see that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dave's favourite one is Eberron, which is Magitech pulp action setting. He says, think Casablanca, but with shapeshifters and lightning elemental trains and airships. Well, that sounds pretty cool.
That does sound pretty rad, actually.
Their final question. So this is the final question for the podcast.
Ooh. Okay.
What's the one class or archetype in a game that you always gravitate towards, or never have any interest in?
I always like playing the big tough guy.
Or the guy who thinks he's big and tough.
Yeah. Hey, that is such a personal attack right now.
It's a personal attack on Nathan, not you.
Okay, wait. Shut up. But no, I like the big strong guy. He's fun. But I found myself recently kind of gravitating towards like casters.
Yeah.
I like spellcasters. There's a lot more to them than just hit shit with an axe.
You see, I tend to, and of course this covers more like, you know, RPG video games and things.
Yeah.
I tend to go down the same thing, which is quite often, which is that I start off with all the intentions to try and make a kind of quick, stealthy character, and then that goes wrong, and then I always inevitably just end up going down the human wall of beef approach.
Yeah, that's fair.
Although I will basically never play a human if I have the choice not to.
I know.
I will always play something that's non-human.
Yeah, I've never played D&D personally, but I can't see myself gravitating toward a tank, and I can't see myself being a bad guy. A 40k army should tell you, I've never played a bad guy army. I played orcs, but they don't count.
No, those are like chaotic
orcs
neutral.
orcs.
It's fine. Yeah, orcs are orcs.
Yeah.
Orcs are orcs. I played orcs, guard, Necrons for about 5 minutes, Tau and Stormcast and High Elves. The most evil I've got is the Daughters of Cain I'm going to have, but they're still technically order. I can't play bad guys. I just don't think I'm evil enough, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But anyway, we should probably start wrapping this podcast up, because I originally was planning to not make this anywhere near as long as the previous ones. But we fucked that up, right, haven't we?
Yeah.
That's fine. It's fine. We had fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, so thank you very much for coming on, Michael.
Yes, thank you. It's been awesome having you.
thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Do you want to plug your channel for anyone that happens to hear this who, for some reason, isn't already following you?
Yeah, if you're part of the 40k section of Snipe and Wib's community, you probably, or may not have come across me, but I am one of the co-hosts of Adeptus Podcastus, and I do a lot of 40k lore as well as AOS hobby, because I can't do AOS lore, and my 40k is living in another country right now. And mostly, I just try and keep things very straight and narrow, so if you like humour and entertainment, go elsewhere, but if you do... But if you are,
so if you like entertainment, you're in the right area.
But yeah, if you quite like the 40k's lore and just want to explore it in a sort of fly on the wall type way of exploring the lore, then that's what I sort of do. And if you want a channel that actually can do both game systems at the same time and not be completely biased, then feel free to stop by. If you're not a 40k person, you may want to steer clear, because that's literally all I talk about. But yeah, that's me. That's Tactica Imperialis, and that's what I do.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, so thank you everyone for listening. And
Yes, thank you.
I guess we'll see you in a few weeks' time.
I mean, I guess.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.